Hello and welcome to Hint Plays. I'm Fishy and I'll be your Games Master today. Hint Plays is a channel for RPGs and tabletop gaming from Hobby Gamers International. We run games on a 3-week rotation with a rotating cast of players and game masters, and we do occasional specials where we look at new games, play online board games and chat about all things gaming. We are considering, for example, and it would be interesting to get some feedback as to whether people would like this, some review videos on the subject of games, probably starting with the different editions of Dungeons & Dragons. So today we will be playing Advanced Dungeons & Dragons 2nd edition. This is the version that came out in 1989, so might be a bit before some of our viewers' time. This was current up until 3rd edition came out in the year 2000. And we will be playing a game based in the Forgotten Realms, but in a rather earlier portion of the Forgotten Realms than most people are currently familiar with, since time moved on through the intervening editions. The PCs are a group of adventurers based in Waterdeep on the Sword Coast, who are interesting. Let's just leave it at that for the moment, I think. So, with me today, we have got, let's run around them in clockwise order, so starting therefore with Nightbites. Would you care to introduce yourself and your character?
Hi, I'm Nightbites, and I am playing Carp's Storm Squall, a half-elven ranger of a nautical variety, so somewhat, ironically, all at sea while we're all on land.
Next up is Chrono Magistrate.
Hi, I'm Chrono Magistrate, and I am playing Onja Starilva, a speciality priest of the god of literature and languages. I am a glyph scribe of Denier.
We are missing a player at the moment, so we will skip over Stephen and Stephanie, the genuinely conjoined twins, I suppose. And move on to Shard Angel.
Shard Angel, I'm playing Knob Wobble Sparkle Spout, and I have my wonderful pet Jitterbug. Not much to say about them. I mean, their name speaks for themselves.
Yes,
Inventor, very, very small person, very lively, very good at illusions. Well, they think that they're good at illusions.
Okay, so Robinson, are you with us, or shall we skip over to Shrine for the moment?
I'm here. I'm just sort of not entirely here.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what, we'll let Drut go first, and then you can fill in afterwards. So, Druttercup.
Hello, I am Druttercup. I am playing Shrine Ort, the mother figure of the group. If your mother was a slightly neglectful, larcenous person who abandoned you to play down the shops, she's trying very hard to keep the group alive, and she's not quite sure why. It's a bigger challenge than she expected, looking at Lucian.
Ah, yes, I definitely returned at the right time.
You did?
Yes. So, Robinson, would you like to introduce yourself and your character?
Okay, I'm playing the grand hero, Lucian Einhart.
Oh, Christ.
Who obviously, as the hero, is the protagonist of the story, and everything goes perfectly well, and there's definitely nothing that ever goes wrong around him, ever. And, well, aside from being a hero, he's also apparently a cavalier, which is sort of like a knight, but not a knight.
Yeah, so, well, no, it is absolutely a knight. It's just most knights in D&D tend to be paladins, and you're not. You're a fighter with the cavalier kit, so you are
a real world knight,
more of a knight than all of the other knights.
Knight.
And the part of Lucian's keeper and child reigns will be played by Onja.
Yes.
I was,
Image.
I was
chain baby reigns.
I was rewatching Series 3 of Slayers the other day, and it had been a while since I watched it, and I hadn't twigged in between just how much Robinson is actually playing a male Amelia. It really absolutely is, though. Spot on.
It is. It's
I feel
absolutely.
like I should read these books now because I've had them advertised to me about half a dozen times on J-Novel Club because they've got the rights to them, and I've never gone and read them. But maybe I should.
Slayers is fun.
The series is the anime is certainly very good. So, I don't think we necessarily need to be discussing anime, however, when we're supposed to be playing D&D. So, let's...
I know that's different.
Well, it's D&D anime, to be fair. At least
Well, no,
it's vaguely
that's
a topic.
Pathfinder. I've always said Pathfinder is the anime version of D&D 3rd edition.
All it takes is the right characters like Lucian to make any game anime.
Yeah, this is true. Yeah,
It just takes me
I
as
think-
a player.
I think I might debate your use of the term right characters. It takes certain characters. So, our heroes have been bumbling around Waterdeep, trying to investigate a number of crimes. They were put onto this by a local merchant who wanted his daughter got away from her current paramour, a bad boy running a local small crime gang. They discovered him and his gang had been trying to set up a protection racket in an area known as the Adventurers' Quarter. Not the ideal place, given that it takes its name from the number of retired adventurers that live there. And that moved on to some interesting escalation, where they discovered a corrupt watchman who they are looking to try and get some information about, and a connection to a mysterious organisation known apparently as the Black Diamond, and a wizard who is capable of making an item which can summon creatures. In the case of the one they fought, an enlarged fire method. Trying to find out more about what's going on, they have found themselves coming to visit a local sage, a Gerald Strelthin. Strelthin is apparently most knowledgeable on the subject of magic and mages, and they are hoping that they can identify the wizard behind this summoning, due to the fact that Anja has been able to make a copy of his sigil from the wand, the device that was used to summon the method. When we stopped against our will, thanks to internet problems, and the last session, they had arrived at Strelthin's house and been informed by his manservant that only 2 of them would be allowed in to see him, since he is an old man and doesn't want to be too bothered by random visitors. So, after a brief discussion, it was decided that Shrine and Anja would play the role, and so they are now moving into another room to be introduced to the man himself. The room you are shown into is a comfortable if somewhat cluttered study. Shelves of books and scrolls line the walls, and a leather-topped desk takes pride of place against the one shelf-free surface. A chair is tucked under the desk but unoccupied. The room's inhabitant sits instead in a comfortable-looking armchair in the corner. Strelthin is an aging human, grey-haired and bearded, who is currently wrapped in a purple robe, of the lounging variety, not the wizardly kind. He looks more than anything like a cross between Gandalf and Noel Coward. He peers at you as you enter. Who might you be?
Good morning. Master Strelthin, I do apologise for intruding on you like this. We were hoping that you might be able to help us with a small task of identification. My name is Anja Starelva. I am from the Church of Denier, as you can no doubt see, and this is my companion, Shrine Ort.
Identification, you say? Identification. Well, I don't normally do spells for money. There are other people who could do that sort of thing.
No,
if you've got a magic item that you need sorting out, I can point you at some people.
It's not an item we have come to you with. My companions at the Zorstar said that highly recommended you for this. We have a mage's sigil that we have been unable to identify, as it is not in any records that we have available to us.
Your records aren't very complete. I've looked at the records of the Source. I did a lot of research, you see. I did a lot of research, although I think probably you weren't born yet at the time. And the records were terribly incomplete at the time, and I have asked them to send me updates, and sometimes they do send me updates, and sometimes they don't send me updates, but I've had a few, and sorry, what were we talking about? Sigil. Yes, you wanted sigil. Yes, yes, I could do sigils. Yeah. Tell me more.
Certainly. Obviously, this does not come without recompense. So, I do not. Your butler was did not tell me how much your services cost.
Yes, Manfred deals with all of that for me.
Okay.
That's absolutely fine. Yes, he can do that.
Very well. I look a little bit surprised at Shrine as.
On the money.
Yes. As for the records at the Zorster, yes. Unfortunately, it is only what we come across in our dealings with various folks that we are able to record. But here, and I pull out the scrap of parchment with the symbol on it, and take it over to him and show it to him.
Yes, he will take the parchment off you and peer at it for a while, and then he'll fish around in pockets for a bit, eventually finding a pair of spectacles that he perches on his nose and peers at it for a bit longer. This is definitely a major sigil.
I'm so glad you could tell us that.
I'm sorry, who are you again?
Me? Oh, I'm here to carry on his pen.
So you're secretary? Scribe?
Scrivener's assistant. I quickly pipe up.
Exactly, yes. Scrivener's assistant
yes.
and general facilitator. She's giving him her best wide-eyed look.
Wow.
She has one, I promise.
Andra makes a note, a mental note that Shrine is capable of playing the ingenue.
So, yes, this sigil. I really don't know why so many people insist on disturbing my rest with their questions. It isn't as if the answers can't be obtained elsewhere. I've written a book, you know.
I was unaware. My colleagues were unaware of this. Perhaps we should locate a copy of it for our own records.
Yes. I mean, I'm sure you can absolutely. Who might you be?
My name is Anja Starova from the Zorstar, sir. We have come seeking the benefit of your intellect.
You've agreed to inform us who this sigil belongs to.
This sigil?
Yes.
Let me see. This time, as well as looking at the sigil, he actually incants a quick spell.
Oh, okay.
This is certainly a major sigil. It's, it's not a random scribble or something. It's certainly associated with an active mage. Elements of the design that hint at the Sword Coast or northern origin, but the penmanship, that looks southern.
Yes, the penmanship is mine. This is a copy from an item.
Of course.
I am from Am originally.
It's your penmanship, yes. And you are?
a scholar seeking a scholar seeking information.
Right. Okay. Well, I can't identify this fully from sight alone, but from the design, I would suggest that you look to the host tower of the Arcane for your answer. There are definitely elements that would seem to indicate something from that direction. There is a way I can tell you exactly who this belongs to. A mage's sigil, do you see, is more than a symbol on a piece of paper. It's an englyphment of a portion of that mage's personality. There's a thaumacyclic link forged between every copy of the sigil and the mage themselves, forged and maintained by Dwemer fundamental particles and sacred to the gods of magic and mages. Mistress Curse, as I'm sure you'll know, falls upon those who seek to appropriate or misrepresent a sigil, and Zuth knows the location, purpose, and identity of every sigil in existence across Tolu at all times. There is a ritual which I was capable of constructing some years past, which will allow a form of subconscious communication with a Zuth. Just enough to identify a sigil and point to its creator. It's not easy, however, and it does require some rather specific components.
And what components might that be, sir?
Well, for starters, it requires a connection to Zuth. The easiest way to get that in the magic is with holy water, specifically holy water blessed by the priesthood of Azuth. So that's the main thing that I need. And then the other thing is it's an unusual herb, well, a root, actually. You may have heard of it. It's called Mistress Wort. It's a woodland plant. Doesn't have any medicinal properties that I'm aware of. I've never found any of it in the city. When I created the ritual, I had to actually send people out looking for it specifically. But if you could fetch me those two things, then I would be capable of identifying exactly who this sigil belongs to.
So
obviously.
let me obviously. So just to be sure that I have understood you require some holy water blessed by an Azathan priest, and a piece of Mistress Wort.
Absolutely.
Specifically the root or the whole plant?
It's the root that we need. Yes, the root of Mistress Wort and some Azuthian holy water. Yeah, that reminds me of something. What's that remind me of?
Oh God, we've been given a fetch quest.
Yes, that was it. I made a spell that used those as a component.
Yes.
Perhaps we could give you the components and you could do the spell and show us what it was.
I could do that. Yes, nobody's ever taken an interest in it before.
It does sound like an
quite
important
nice to
piece of
show it
erudition, no?
I don't suppose you could tell us what Mistress Wort looks like.
Yes, yeah, I certainly can. He drags himself out of his chair and starts rooting through one of the shelves, eventually pulling out a small leather-bound book that is some form of herbal. He flicks through it for a while and eventually finds a page covering the plant in question. This is the one. There's quite a good illustration of it there. It's pretty much what you would expect. It's got an illustration of the plant and a brief description of the environment that it's found in and the times that it flowers and the fact that it has no medicinal qualities whatsoever.
I have a copy of Culpepper's Herbal outside if you want me to.
Yeah, it's that sort of book that you're dealing with here, but specifically a Realms one.
Yes, I take a quick glance at the page and make sure that I can remember the details about like location and where.
I don't suppose I could borrow this.
I really don't think so.
In that case, could I borrow it for just a moment and I can make a copy of just this section, just to give a little sketch? You've got the desk there. If that's okay.
Go ahead. Yes, I am.
Oh, thank you, Shrine.
And then maybe you can have a conversation with Onza here.
Onza?
Certainly.
Oh, you're a scribe of Denier.
I am indeed a glyph scribe of Denier, and as I say, you were most recommended by my associates at the Zort staff. I do apologise that they were unable to update your records on anything that we had found.
Well, you can't expect too much. I mean, I'm sure they're very busy people.
Indeed, and our access to mages is actually quite limited. It's only those who actually require any trade dealings actually vouchsafed, which, as you know, which many of them, beyond a certain point, have grown beyond the need for a simple scribe to do so.
Yes, all very true. You are a mean person, Drat. You're a very mean person indeed.
I would like to say I am going to be making a sketch copy of the plant and
Just in
noting down the
case.
description, because I do have reading and writing.
Yeah,
Trina can
okay.
read and write.
But you don't
However-
have artistic ability, do you, for the actual
No.
sketching?
However, I am also blocking
Would
Arnold
you like
Tottridge's
to
line
make
of
me
sight.
a pickpockets roll?
I would
since
love to
that
make you a
applies for
pickpockets
sleight of hand as well.
You want me to make both? Oh no, sorry, sleight of hand is the thing in this.
Sleight of hand isn't a thing; it's just pickpockets.
Shame that-
Sorry.
Shame that the person who actually has artistic ability, drawing and painting,
Yeah.
is doing the distraction work.
I was
yeah.
thinking that,
It's
but
fine. It's fine. I'm more likely to be able to put it away somewhere
Yes, I know.
subtle.
yeah.
Pickpockets,
And if you feel bad about it, you can always copy it afterwards and return the book later.
Well, I'm intending to bring the book back. It's just I really can't, be bothered right now. It is percentile, isn't it?
So
This is
yeah,
a thief skill.
I will carry on talking to the sage and just try to draw out a little bit more about his history, because he does sound like the sort of person who will talk about the stuff that he has done.
Yes,
so I will
he will
draw
happily
more.
go into all kinds of detail about his researches, but most of that detail is several years old. And every now and then, as you've already seen, he will seem to forget what he's doing and need to be
He's
reminded,
resetting.
or even forget who you are. His long-term memory is excellent, and he knows a lot about mages and magic, and you can gather that very easily. It's just, in modern terms, I think we would probably say that the neuroplasticity of his brain is not up to what it once was.
Yes.
I've had conversations like this with my nan when she was suffering from vascular dementia. It's fine up to a point, and then the conversation literally just resets.
Yeah. So how did your skill roll go? Brett?
I made it by 2 points. Do remind me to put points into pickpockets next time I level up.
Okay, so yeah, you can stealthily secrete the book. It's only a fairly small book anyway.
Yeah.
Somewhere about your person, and wait long enough for Strelfin to have seemingly forgotten. He certainly he hasn't asked you about the book
Yeah.
again.
I'm
Well
figuring
then.
out of sight, out of mind at this stage.
Well then, I'd have a quick glance over to Shrine and see if she can give me a nod or anything like that.
She'll give you an innocent smile.
Okay. Well then,
Which could
I
mean anything,
believe
for sure.
I believe that's all we have. We have need of your time right now. I hope that you will rest well, and we shall be back as soon as we can with the ingredients for that ritual.
Oh, that would be lovely. Yes.
Yes.
And then you can show us how you do that.
It's been lovely talking to you.
It has been indeed,
do,
sir.
Do come again. Do come again.
I will be sure to do so.
I will subserviently follow Onzia out.
Okay. As you head back to the door, the manservant, apparently Manfred, if Strelfin is to be believed, materializes out
For
of
we
the,
know Manfred was his grandfather or something.
It's possible. It's possible.
His Manfred man.
Oh,
I wasn't going to say
Okay.
that.
Now I know.
Surely it'd be more of a druid if he was Manfred Band, because then he'd have the Earth Band.
You don't know. He's not a druid. There are
and-
urban druids. I'm sure there's a kit somewhere.
in references that probably go beyond most of our.
That's pushing it for me. I mean. Oh.
One hesitates to bring up such a sordid subject, but a consultation such as this with Master Strelfin will normally run to 50 gold pieces.
We are just going to fetch a few items that he has requested, and we will be back. And we, on conclusion of our business, we shall settle the matter. If that is acceptable.
I
this-
really think I would rather that you pay for this consultation now, and then any additional fees will return.
Fine.
Oh, very well.
Master Strelfin is an old man, and
No,
we
we
wouldn't
have
want
no
anyone
wish to take advantage.
of him.
Indeed. Does anyone actually have 50 gold?
Yes, I will.
I don't.
I will cough up the 50 gold with a memo to take it out of people's hides later. But I will do the purse bearer thing because again, it makes me look subservient. Onto's like the queen; he doesn't carry money.
Andre's like a priest; he doesn't carry money.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Or at least not
Ways
yet.
of the
And
priest
until
Not
he's
yet.
named.
In terms of taking it out of people's hides, I think Lucian's got the most valuable hide, so I'm too small.
Lucian would certainly think so.
Yes, a warhorse is worth
I was
quite
going
a
to say,
bit.
there's some argument that Lady Frigella would be worth more.
Yes. Yes. I wonder how much I could get for Lady Frigella and how long it would take him to notice.
Good question. Okay, so
Right,
yes, you
great.
can return to the antechamber where the others are waiting for you, and pass on your information to them.
What was the name of the place that he had said if we wanted to do this the other way?
He suggested that your inquiry should take in the host tower of the Arcane,
Right.
which is the Mages Guild in Luskan, if I'm remembering the name correctly.
Yes, that
Oh
was it.
God. Oh no, Luskan.
That's why I knew it wasn't going to be good. Yeah.
Really? Oh, we're stuffed.
Why are we
No, we're
So
not going to
big-
Luskan.
So
No,
the
we're
big
not-
shock here is that the wizard selling magic items to local thieves might
Is
have
he?
some connection to the evil aligned host tower of the Arcane. I don't know quite why you're so surprised.
We're not surprised. It's just I think we'd all try to forget.
Unexpected plot twist.
I was just trying to
Expect-
remember what reference the Luskan.
Luskan, the host tower of the Arcane, does not specialise in good aligned mages.
No, and they effectively run
Luskan.
Luskan, which is an ostensibly trading town further north along the Sword Coast.
Dodgy as shit is the
Yeah.
technical term. Shrine would probably get on quite well there, but then would also probably get vaporised.
Yeah,
So I need to go here on a crusade and eliminate all of them immediately.
even worse than say like Tortuga would be in the Pirates of the Caribbean setting.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, you do actually. There may be a connection between Luskan and one of your other dangling plot threads. Of course, you do have a spy that you gained at the end of the first scenario, working
We
for a
have
group of
pirates.
pirates along the Sword Coast. And Luskan, there are some connections in rumour between Luskan and piracy. But
Actually,
Purely
go in a
rumour.
slumber.
Carps would be an excellent person to have a chat with the pirate and ask if he could gain any information on
Or we could just go
activities.
there.
I'm not taking Lucian to Luskan yet.
God.
Why not?
Lucian
I can see
needs
no
to learn
downside in this plan.
self-control.
They might kill him.
I can see no downside in this
That's
plan.
this plan. Yeah,
They might kill him. Why is there a fight here?
because
Because you might
possession
survive.
and charm is a thing, and for all we know,
it
they'll
depends
get
on how many
turned
carrion
others.
crawler tentacles they can get the party can get hold of.
Can we cultivate? It makes it sound like growing them by cuttings. Can we obtain any baby carrion crawlers? I don't know, portable in a jar maybe. Next time
The-
Lucian starts acting up, fuck.
The simple answer to
Shove it
that
down the
is
back of his
yes.
chest.
The more complicated answer is it'd
How?
cost you. Bear in mind that Waterdeep sits above Undermountain, and within
Yes.
Undermountain is Skullport, and at Skullport you can get almost anything, especially
Good
stuff that
point.
comes from the Underdark.
Yes.
But
How
when
long
you
does
went
it
to
take?
Skullport before, you weren't allowed into the city.
No.
We'd all end up dying if we did that.
Yes. If Lucian's master was anything like the rest, like Lucian.
Yes.
Oh God. How long does it take a carrion crawler to attain adulthood?
You expect me to have that information? You think that TSR at any point decided that was valuable knowledge?
Just wondering.
It
I think we
might
would
be
need
in
some
one
kind
of the ecology articles
Yeah.
from Dragon magazine, but I'm not going to find and search an entire digital archive of Dragon back issues just to answer that question.
I think I would need to have been a Drow Ranger to have a
I have
chance
just
of getting us
noticed.
that one.
I
Yeah.
have the same problem that Molia had now, because I can't hear night.
Oh,
Oh.
Okay.
That's interesting.
Have you got a VPN running that says one person per call is not allowed to hear my audio.
No.
Although when I did join, it said that Knight had disconnected from the call.
Oh, might have been when you were restarting
Yes.
your camera went wonky. Or something went wonky.
Is it worth me leaving and rejoining to remedy
It
that?
might be worth giving it a go, see if that fixes
All right,
it. Yeah.
I'll be back in just a minute.
Okay.
Bear with us, folks.
But yes, I recount. Andre recounts our findings to the group, and suggests that given that a trip to Luskan is out of the question at present,
Yes.
we should attempt to find.
Okay, I'm back. Can everyone see and
I
hear?
can hear a Knight now.
Hooray!
Hey.
Yay!
Unfortunately, a huge
Well,
note
if in
will need
doubt,
to
turn
make
it off and
fit
on again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There we go.
there's
Uh,
a knight. There's a knight. Hello, knight.
So we
It's good
should.
to be back. It's good to talk.
There are two items. There are two items that we need to acquire. It probably, in the interests of time, would probably be wise if we split up to go and locate these two items.
First question, before
Mhm.
we even go to any detail. First question, Andre. Do we need to split up? If we've happened to have shaken any particular foundations, people might start looking for us with potentially big, nasty swords and daggers and, overgrown fire things. That they might decide to send after us. If we're a divided party, there's less of us to fight off the menace.
It's okay, I can handle them alone.
I doubt that.
Well, we don't need to split the party. These two items. One should be able to. We should be able to find with relative simplicity within the city. The other will probably require a field trip.
Fetch quest.
What does it say? I don't want to have this conversation directly outside the sage's house. By the
No,
way.
I think we move. I
We
think
find
we
a
move
token.
on.
We're still having this conversation inside the sage's house.
Well,
We're
okay,
leaving the
yeah.
sage's house now.
Right, let's find a tavern and we can suss out where we're going next.
Yes.
Sure.
Let's not take up too much of Master Strelthin's
Yes.
hospitality.
If nothing else, they might start
So-
billing us by the hour.
Let's have a quick look at the map. Let me
You lot all owe
share
me
that
10 gold,
so
by the way.
that-
Bold of you to
Screen
assume
can
I
see
have
it.
gold.
I'll take it on account.
What, the account of money that you stole from me anyway, that you stole from someone else?
But we don't know
Oh,
that.
would that be the money that I then paid to a nefarious drow in order to get us out of the place that was about to kill you?
I remember none of this.
And would that be before or after? I dangled. She's doing this in character. I dangled by my ankles over a 600-foot drop on a chain in order that you didn't have to do too much climbing.
Wow, you guys have gone through a lot.
It does seem your
Yes.
adventures have been
Adventures.
quite a story.
Yes, next time you get 10 gold, it's coming in my way. Okay? Thanks.
Objection.
I did wonder.
Lucian, we
Shrina,
pay our debts, sir.
I did wonder, given our already quite incredible adventures, perhaps if we could convince someone of a scholarly trait to transcribe our stories into written format and maybe sell them for extra coin.
There may be value in that, actually.
You know, I have an invention in mind that would make selling stories even better. You take the words and you imprint them on stone, and then you cover the stone in ink, and then you put it on paper over and over again.
Newspapers exist.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Sorry, movable types beating you to it.
Yeah.
I don't know much about favorites, so
Yeah.
I wander over to a street corner and pick up a pay a copper or so and pick up a sheet.
I've got visions of Nobwobble having been working away in isolation in a gnomish community about this, having emerged with, look, I have worked out how to do all this imprinting and engraving and coming out. And it's like
obviously
printing presses.
Obviously, the technology is not is not particularly widespread, but at least in a cosmopolitan environment like this, these are available.
But yes. Perhaps short adventures distributed monthly or weekly.
I think there is merit in this idea. We should probably discuss it further.
Why would anyone, just out of character though, why would anyone buy our stories when there are far more dramatic ones available?
Because we're the ones printing them.
Exactly. Nobody else is doing it. And relatability. You cannot possibly relate to people who live in huge towers and massive mansions and who have made their millions. But you can relate to the plebs who are living in a box next to the local inn because they can't afford a room.
The heroes of the street does seem to be a remarkable angle. I have read many folk tales and stories in my time, and
this here could be a peasant folk hero.
This is actually in my backstory.
Oh, excellent.
So yeah,
I have an idea for what we should call them. We should call them cereals.
But that's what people have for breakfast.
Andre pulls out a piece of parchment and makes a note and sends it back in his kit.
I'm imagining this as being a subscription service now.
Yes.
But of course,
No, it's a transcription service.
What this does mean is that to further such stories and serials, we'd have to keep having adventures.
Yes.
So let's get moving.
Yes.
Okay. Did I ever get round to putting the alertness proficiency on everybody's character sheets?
Alertness.
I definitely have on Shrine, because that was the first one to come to hand that I just checked on.
I thought I did, but...
Oh yes, my
But
6.
apparently I haven't to anyone else. Or at least I haven't to Lucian. I can't say for certain about anyone else.
I thought I'd take
my alertness score is
I have on Carps.
Okay.
Is that an indication that you'd like an alertness roll?
Yes,
Oh,
this is
no,
an indication
different
that I'd like an
character I'm thinking
alertness
of.
roll. I just wanted to check whether I'd already given people the alertness proficiency at a penalty for the fact that you don't have alertness.
I don't have one.
I made it by 1.
So, what I will do is I will quickly add
Is a natural
alertness at
one
the appropriate penalty.
anything spectacular when rolling such
It's
things?
not. No, in this edition,
That's a relief.
It would be spectacularly good if it was, because with proficiency penalties.
Oh, we're rolling low, aren't we?
Non-weapon proficiencies you roll equal to or less than. You get a critical essentially if you roll exactly what you needed.
And I made it by 1. Oh, that's annoying. So
Right, let's have a quick look
But
at
still not a crit.
Nobble. So Nobble will have this at -6. Let
I'd
me
rather
just
make it
quickly
by 1 than fail it by 1.
add that.
Indeed.
Yes, I think we did. Chrono, indeed. I think we managed to slide that one straight past Lucian.
I have new skill, yay!
No one's got the skill. That's the thing. We're rolling it at a default.
Yeah, I'm putting it in at your default
wisdom, I
levels,
believe.
so it'll go up dramatically if you ever take the proficiency at a higher level.
I failed by 3.
What did I do there? I just managed to try and drag the wrong thing because I'm an idiot.
I think we're all just too distracted by talking about serializing our adventures.
Somebody just lobbed a snowball on my window.
No.
I'm on the 2nd floor.
Doesn't
This is both annoying and impressive.
that part is slightly surprising. On my way home from work today, I only had 2 snowballs, one thrown at me and one thrown at the bus I was on. But I thought that wasn't bad for the first day of snow. Only 2
No.
snowballs.
Should we just roll a d20 and
So yeah,
and if it comes out low enough, then we
yeah. I mean, feel free. I'll add the proficiency on for later use, but feel free just to roll a d20 for the moment.
Oh, that's got to make it.
That meets it. That's a critical success.
If the target, I mean, it depends on what we're looking for. If it's half wisdom, then my half wisdom would be 8.
It's half wisdom plus 1. Is what it
So you actually
works
needed
out.
9s.
Yeah.
So I need to roll the alertness that I'm assuming is the one that's just popped up. In my
Yes,
normal
I've now
skills.
popped alertness onto people's character sheets,
Aha.
so it's
Okay.
there within thingy to be rolled, should you wish. Look at that.
Success by 1.
Lucian being alert
Oh,
just
dear.
goes to show that dice have absolutely no concern for realism.
Well, but what he notices is an ogre stopping him.
Suddenly, just
You need
paranoia.
to be on the lookout for injustice at all times.
So Anja and Lucian both made it. Did I take it they're the only ones that did?
Shrine did.
Oh, Shrine did.
Carp
I should
did.
have known Shrine would.
Sorry, I did the same as
Yeah.
Lucian, if it helps.
Okay, so
Yes, everyone except for Knobwobble, basically.
right. Okay, so
He's too
and
busy
and
distraught over his printing press already existing.
Stephanie, who was distracted, presumably comforting Knobwobble.
This is
So
sentence.
as
I
you are
can't
leaving
believe that's there.
Strelthin's house, having this conversation, you turn right along Iron Post Street, headed towards the main route back in the direction that you had originally came from. And almost all of you notice at the far end of the street a familiar figure.
Oh no.
There is a small group of children playing there.
Uh-huh.
And you have already seen before the
Yeah.
halfling female used as a scout by the Wrong Sheet crew. As a result, you immediately notice her as you look in that direction, and you realise from the look on her face that she knows she's been tumbled. There is just a moment as it hangs in the air between you, and then she turns and legs it along Burnt Wagon Way.
Right. I'm going after. I'm not having her go back.
Does anyone say anything to Knobwobble?
Literally, this is what I'm saying. I'm not having her go back to
Jitterbug, chase her.
headquarters. Cool. Jitterbug, with me.
Jitterbug's probably moving faster than you are.
Shrine's going to need some strong arm backup. I'm following.
Okay, if you'd like to take a look at the map, I believe, share the map,
You did?
Mhm.
did.
Yes.
and let me just put some. Oh, this is going to be a disappointment. I was using Fantasy Grounds Unity last time I ran something, and it's got much better pointers.
I mean,
So
I'll join in the chase, but I have very short legs.
Just move them faster, it'll be fine.
the person you're
Where's
chasing
my
is a
wand when
halfling.
you need it.
Her
Oh,
legs
yeah.
are equally short. Unfortunately,
I'm
you know, I have
I'm
to
figuring that
cancel the
if
purple.
me and Carps catch up, that's one thing. If we don't necessarily want Lucian catching her. He'll skewer her before
So-
she can tell us anything.
I've put a circle at the end of the street where you have seen her, and then I will just put
Lucia
in
wouldn't harm a child.
a
Not
pointer
a child.
Not a child.
pointing
He's
to
halfling.
As far as he's aware.
Burnt Wagon
Oh,
Way.
God. Good point. We're relying on Lucian's obliviousness.
Yikes.
Let's sync the client view so that you're looking at the same thing as I'm looking. I apologise that the arrow and circle don't show up too well,
Oh, right. Yeah, there we go.
but
I see the tiny little arrow.
gives you the circle is where you originally saw her at the end of Iron Post Street, and she has legged it in the direction of Burnt Wagon Way.
So, on the shortest distance between 2 points,
We could cut through.
we're going to have to cut through, yeah?
You could.
Parkour!
I will point out to you, because I'm a very generous GM, that the danger with cutting through is that if she realises you're doing it, she's only got to turn around to lose you.
This is true. On the other hand, the
If one
advantage
cuts
of
and one doesn't.
Well, that's the thing. It's like I suggest Andra
Jitterbug.
suggests to Lucian and Knobwobble, we're going to be slower than the others. If they're going to cut through, I suggest we follow behind and take the normal route.
Yep.
Okay.
Also, Jitterbug is following her, so theoretically,
I'll know exactly which direction to go.
Help. But in the meantime, hot pursuit and all that.
I say exactly which direction. I have a general idea of where Jitterbug is at all times.
At this kind of range, you're pretty sure where Jitterbug is.
Yeah.
Because
gets distracted
your
by a
connection
thunderstorm.
goes up to about a mile. So this close, you're sure where Jitterbug is. And Jitterbug, yes, is quite fast enough to flip straight over and keep tabs on this fleeing halfling as you run. And I'm sure I must have some suitably dramatic music. I really should have checked for good chase music in advance before we started this, and unfortunately I forgot.
Yes, you're running off the desktop app, aren't you?
I am, yes. So
The
let's
fantasy
have
player.
let's just go with.
I invested in so much from Simonscape the other day.
Let's just have some hopefully dramatic drums. I
They're
am
dramatic
not
drums.
100% certain as to what volume this is going through on the stream at, so if it's too loud or too quiet, do let me know.
Well, bear in mind, of course, we can. Oh, yeah, sorry, the stream is on its own.
This is the problem, yes. You guys can adjust the volume for yourself, anyone who's actually listening in on Discord, to the way I'm streaming it over there. But for the people at home, I can't really tell apart from just looking at the little green flashing line and hoping that it's right. So I'm hoping that people will let me know.
Excuse me.
So, what I am going to ask you for at this point, there's no hard and fast chase rules in
Excellent.
this edition. It's a little bit, they tend to assume, you can move for a normal human 120 feet in a combat round, and chases get a bit vague when everybody can move exactly the same. So
Fortunately, halflings can't.
halflings can't, no. So what I tend to do is I will go with dexterity checks for how well you are successfully chasing. If anybody has something like tumble, I will allow that to be used in place if it is
Take
better.
tumble.
If it's better, it's just a way of improving.
Can I use climb walls?
I was going to ask the same thing.
So, exactly how do you want to use climb walls here? You
I
trying to
would
Lara
like-
Croft this and start wall running?
I would very much like to get up on top of rooftops, so instead of dodging between houses and down alleys, I can just go roof to roof.
Mirror's Edge.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but good.
Can I use either Waterdeep Law or Navigation or some combination of the two to make sure I know the quickest route through here?
Yes.
Oh.
You can. So,
Everyone's
those of you
everyone's,
who wish to
like,
climb a
contriving
wall,
skills into
make me
these
a climb walls
situations.
roll. Those of you who wish to navigate, use the worst of navigation or Waterdeep Law. So, I think that seems fair. One covering how well you know the city, and the other how well you can actually navigate.
Can I use dancing to
Success by
weave
2.
my way through the crowd?
Can
Oh, wait,
I
have
use?
Deep Law.
Can I use?
You laugh, Robinson, but actually I will allow that.
Oh, what, really?
Awesome.
Because
We're
it is
following on the main
training-
road, though.
It's training in coordinated movement. So as far as moving through crowds is concerned, it will work. It's not going to be probably any better than your dexterity is, but
Can I use ancient history in order to know the foot races in the past and take advantage of that?
there's a limit to how much I
I mean-
will let you get away with.
I've got navigation and direction sense, but I am not a Waterdeep native, so it's not going to be a lot of use at the moment.
Did you say Bang On gets a crit?
Bang on, gets a crit, yeah.
I'd rather it at the end of the chase, but I'll put up with it at the start.
so
16,
what was
which is what
that?
I got. Climb walls.
That right. Okay, so not on climb walls, because climb walls is just a percentile skill. It's
Oh,
non-weapon proficiencies.
bollocks.
This is a thief skill, not a non-weapon proficiency. At this stage, they hadn't yet merged thief skills into the other
True.
skills list. That happened in 3rd edition.
Yes. Fair enough. That's annoying.
So,
I'm never going
however,
to get another crit. but-
that is good enough that you can shin up a wall. Okay, so you have a choice. You saw the halfling as you were coming out of Strelthins and starting to head west along Ironpost Street.
Yeah.
So the two buildings most obvious to you to climb are the one directly opposite Strelthins, or the next one along underneath the word street.
The one directly opposite Strelthins, the slightly shorter one.
Yeah, the one at an angle.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. So yeah, you nip across the street and
Give me a
making
line
use of a water butt that is outside and a simple piece of guttering. You haul yourself up onto the roof with no problem whatsoever.
Okay.
Knight,
Yes.
your navigation skill indicates to you that you should head west a bit. If I put another pointer in, the best route is going to be to cut between those two buildings there, and then
Yep.
there is an alley which will run right the way through to Burnt Wagon Way. The downside to that is you are aware, so you can consider whether this is an issue, that she could potentially oh damn, I could accidentally close the map, that she could potentially, without, if she sees you coming, she could cut down Velar's Lane, which is directly opposite the Citadel of the Arrow, which is the guild hall of the Bowyer's Guild, and thus leave the party coming from either side and her managing to head out on a T-junction. But that is the quickest way through to Burnt Wagon Way. If you move faster, you might be able to get past Velar's Lane before she gets there.
What I could feasibly do is take that route, but stop there and just sit and wait. And as the sound of running gets closer,
yes, an ambush.
yes,
You could indeed, yes. So,
Sorry, I'm just planning out my route.
I noticed that Shrine's route is appearing in little black arrows on the map, which is.
I'm aiming for 174.
Yeah, that's the Citadel of the Arrow, the Bowyer's Guild.
Sorry, I thought I'm having a Fantasy Grounds Unity moment.
Yeah, Fantasy Grounds Unity has much better pointers. So if anybody's looking at Fantasy Grounds, go for Unity, not just because it's the current version, and as time continues it's going to be better supported than this version, because that's where they're going to be doing the new development, but also because certain things, especially where the maps are concerned, are so much better.
Yeah.
I will be updating this to Fantasy Grounds Unity at some point, but it's a matter of swapping the campaign over and making sure that I'm comfortable with any oddities that this particular rule set may occur in that one. So,
That pretty much covers it.
can we get then some dexterity checks from the people who are running to get me an idea as to how effectively they are running? I will allow dancing if you wish to use dancing. I will allow tumbling. I will allow anything that you can rationalise as indicating that you should be able to move through a crowd a bit better. But mostly they're not going to be better than your dexterity.
Swimming?
Anyway.
I should swim through the crowd.
Kind of nearly, but no.
I failed. Failed by one. How sad.
I mean, on that basis, would actually just plain direction sense be able to be useful in that sense?
I think probably not in this instance. No.
Crowd's
If
perfect.
once you're in the alleys, direction sense would be useful to make sure that you don't get lost and take a wrong turn.
Sure. Yeah.
Surfing.
Dex fail.
success by 7 on Dex.
10 Dex.
Okay, so the difference here primarily is that the people who have made their dex save are dodging in and out of it's not much of a crowd, but there's also quite a lot of, particularly in the back alleys, there's quite a lot of junk lying around, and there are people going about their business. And those who made the Dex roll are nipping between them without any trouble, and it's not slowing them down. The rest, nothing disastrous is happening to you. You're just not making as good time as you would like. So,
given
in
that
particular,
I'm following
what this
Carps,
means for Lucian,
my success is based on his.
is Lucian has much longer legs than a halfling, and should be able to overhaul this woman with no trouble whatsoever. But the crowd is slowing him down enough that all he's doing is managing to keep pace. You're keeping her in sight, but it's quite frustrating that you can't catch up to her, which you know you should be able to, and you just wish you had a horse handy, because obviously she'd have no chance of getting away if you only had Lady here.
Over short distances, 2 legs is better than 4.
Yes, this is true. Mainly on acceleration and deceleration.
Yeah.
4 legs good, 2 legs bad.
Oh no.
So yeah,
So what you're telling me
Anja
is I need
is
a
roughly
sentence.
keeping pace with you, again having not managed to slip through the crowd. Knobwobble, interestingly, is doing a much better job, but is still roughly keeping pace with you because Knobwobble has much shorter legs.
Knobwobble was small.
I thought
so he doesn't
Knobwobble
have
said
to
they were
dodge
following me.
people.
Huh?
Whoever Knobwobble is keeping pace with, Knobwobble is keeping pace with them because it's a successful dexterity
Knobwobble
check.
is. I guess I am keeping pace with her because I forgot that I was following Carps.
No, that's fine. You're
Okay,
following
so
Carps,
you've gone off in
this
that
is-
direction as well. Okay.
Yeah, that is absolutely fine. So basically,
So we split the party in 2.
yeah, you
Well,
made your
3.
check, didn't you?
We split the party to try and surround and trap.
So Carps is going to get to the ambush spot ahead of Knobwobble. Because
Naturally.
although you both made your rolls and Knobwobble has shorter legs. But you didn't lose track of where he was going. If you'd failed the roll and Knight had made it, then you would have been left behind enough that you would have then had to guess somewhat where Carps was headed. As it is, you keep up okay. And the others are keeping pace with the halfling, but not gaining any ground. Let's have a quick look at Shrine, however, because Shrine's being flash. So first off, you're up on a building, and I can see arrows definitely indicating some jumping going on here.
Yep. So half dex,
Yes. Well, let me just double check the jumping rules from this edition.
yeah? If this comes off, then
I
this
really
should be
should
fine.
have thought to myself, it's a chase scene in a city and Drut's playing a thief. She'll want to use the Thieves' Road and jump from building to building. And I would have looked this up in advance. But I didn't think that to myself. I was foolish. I'm
Do you not
too
been
out of
watching my
practice,
Cyberpunk?
obviously.
I've been boinging all over the place.
Yeah, but you keep playing Cyberpunk when I'm playing AD&D and I don't get to
Yes,
watch you
okay.
very much. It's kind of background while I'm doing other things. Okay. So you can attempt exceptional leaps both vertically and horizontally. I take it you don't have the jumping skill.
Don't be
Proficiency,
silly.
do you? No, I didn't think you would.
Do a barrel roll.
No, that's if I roll a natural 20.
Okay.
Ah!
Well, you can't broad jump more than 6 times your own height.
Well, that's handy.
Just looking
Wow,
at how
6
close together
times
these
your own
buildings
height.
is, I don't really see that being an issue.
Nah.
Everyone in the world of D&D is a star athlete, apparently.
Well, yeah, that's the way role-playing games work. You're heroes, okay? You get to be heroic. Right, so if you have at least a 20-foot running start, that's not a 20-foot... Well, no, actually, it probably is a 20-foot running start.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you've got lengthways along that building.
Yep.
So, 20-foot running start, you can jump apparently 2d6... 2d6 plus your level of... I love that. Because that means that if you get to be a high-level character, then your average jump is going to be about 30 feet.
That's a heck of a.
Yeah, there's a reason they put the cannot jump any more than 6 times your height rule in there, because otherwise high-level characters just get silly. They all turn into Daredevil.
I'd just like to say Elminster in wizard's robes can do,
Yeah.
Yoda.
Yes.
Well-
Well, this is the thing, yeah. You're
Yeah.
cheating on the 6 times height thing.
It's for
Little.
a standing start. You can do a d6 plus half your level in feet. So yeah, Elminster can still do like 13 feet from a standing start. Yeah, I will confess there are some rules that improved with the D20 system. So what I am going to ask for, however, is the proficiency is specifically for being able to jump.
And it's
There's
keyed off
nothing in
strength,
the description to indicate what you can do if you don't have the proficiency. So what I am going to do is I'm going to assume you can probably jump the same distances without the proficiency. But obviously a proficiency check is going to determine how well you jump, you know, whether you fall flat on your face, land in between the buildings, that kind of stuff. And as we know, these proficiency checks, unskilled, we are making using 1/2 of your stat. So,
Rounding up or down?
jumping is presumably a general proficiency.
Under the rogue list, it's
Nope,
queued off
under
strength.
rogue. There we go.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. So no modifier to it, so just a straight half strength.
Mathematical, yeah?
Yeah, mathematical.
So 8. Shrine, fighter thief.
Yes.
Okay, roll 1, which is my first boing. Okay, that's a 7.
Okay, so yeah, you
Mhm.
sprint along the top of the building and hurl yourself across onto the next one. I'm
Yep.
going to require just a straight dex roll at that stage because you're trying to keep your movement going and not fall off the roof.
That's
So-
no
A small
problem,
female
done that.
cannonball suddenly appears.
And,
I feel sorry for the people in the houses and
Yeah.
buildings underneath me.
We've got to hope that the roofing is sturdy enough to
Given
take.
how often I imagine people run across the roofs in this city,
this is
I have a
not a game
question.
that
Do we
features.
have our tokens on here? Because I'm not seeing my tokens or your
No,
guys' tokens on the
I
map.
haven't put any tokens on. I can put
Okay,
tokens on
okay.
if you want a clearer idea.
We have
you
token
can
lists.
add the tokens. Problem
I mean,
is then
you
I've
can
got to
drag your
immediately
token
shrink
from-
them the moment I put the token on there because it will be huge. Plus, I can't do it from there. I keep forgetting I've got to do it from the combat
Oh.
tracker.
make us gigantic.
And yes,
Right,
will
can't do it from
indeed
there, has to
be
be done.
gigantic. There we go.
Whoa!
Huge, yeah, crash the buildings.
Right, so there's
Thank you,
Shrine.
woman.
Let's put a
Something I did like
giant-sized
in Fantasy
That was
Lucian.
the size of Lucian's ego.
If you want to move across a certain path, it's so cool. You can literally path on waypoints, and then the GM can approve how far you've got.
That,
Oh.
in theory, that is a feature on this edition. I'm just going to remember how to turn it on.
That's fair enough. But it was ever so useful in that fight in Conan, because we were trying to
Yes.
stay
Yes, it
out
was.
of sight, so we were wandering behind trees and bushes. And
So, that's interesting. For reasons best known to someone who is not me, Nobbobble's not on the combat tracker.
Nobbob will never get to
Right.
into a fight.
Now Nobbobble's on the combat tracker. Let me see, who haven't I done yet? I haven't done Stephen and Stephanie, but we can ignore Stephen and Stephanie for now. They're following along behind, but they don't necessarily need a token.
It's definitely a polytechnic.
And I should probably, for good measure, quickly add in a token for our errant halfling. Halfling female beggar, that'll do. zoom in a bit further. I apologise for the fact that the map is not the highest quality in terms of resolution. It's a fantastic map, and the original map is on like A1 or possibly even bigger paper. But it's still such a huge map that when you get down to this level on it, it starts to show significant pixelation. Nevertheless, right. So, we've had Shrine's first roll.
I made my dex check.
Okay.
So I fall flat on my face.
So, the next building you won't need to roll for.
No?
Because they're adjacent, so you don't have to jump. And
No,
then you need
I'm
another
assuming
jump.
that that's the higher building, yeah? That bit in the middle.
Which bit where?
On the right angle
Dexter's
to the one you
arrow.
just land on.
And if anybody from Smokeworks happens to watch this, which I can't imagine why you would, can you please give us the ability to ping? Roll20 lets us ping on the map. It's the only thing I like better about Roll20 at the moment.
Hang on. I'm this jump here. Oh, that went wrong.
That jump there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
that jump
assuming
there, I'm
that
just
is the
letting you
higher
go
building.
through without a roll.
Oh, right. I can get up there, can I? Okay.
Yeah, I'm allowing that without a roll.
Right, okay. Sorry, let me just get rid of that then. I apologise for the esoteric symbolage. And then I'm guessing I'm going to need a decent jump roll to get
You
across.
are going to need a jump roll to get across that, so we'll go with a jump proficiency check first.
Right.
And then just for good measure, I'm going to ask you to actually make the roll to see how far you can jump, because that's what the rules say. The rules say 2d6 plus 1, so
Right. Yeah,
a
okay.
roll of 3 feet isn't going to be very effective.
No, I was hoping, basically, going up onto the middle bit,
Mm-hmm.
because I could have jumped across earlier, just on the same level. I'm
Okay,
hoping to
if-
be a bit higher, I will be able to get a little bit more
If
distance.
I had been sensible, because when I came up with, I'm going to put this chase in, I thought to myself, and my first thought was rooftop chase. And then I decided, no, I'd better not go with a rooftop chase, because Shrine, I'd forgotten at the time that Nobwobble had climb walls. I was
Yeah.
thinking Shrine's the only character with climb walls. Let's not rule out the whole of the rest of the party by making it a rooftop chase. So of course you promptly went up there anyway. If I had planned it as a rooftop chase, I'd have gone through and rolled the heights of each of these buildings in advance.
That is 8, which is exactly what I need for my jump.
Okay.
And 2d6
So-
plus 1, yeah?
2d6 plus 1 for how far you jump. But you did, if you rolled exactly what you needed, you did get a critical on your jumping roll. So I'm not going to let you fall, no matter how low your jumping distance is.
I think I'm having a Strix moment. So many plummet to deaths.
You'll be fine.
Yeah, but Strix
9,
doesn't have
so that's
dice.
10 in total.
Strix doesn't
Which
have
is pretty much
movement
about
that you
right.
roll.
Yeah.
So you hurl yourself into space between the two buildings, and while you're not the best jumper in the world, it's not something that you normally do. Nevertheless, as your arc brings you down towards the edge of the roof and you see the wall looming in front of you, you manage to
Pull up my
just
feet.
about pull up your feet enough, land and tumble forward. Another dex check to avoid going off the other side
I
of
was
the
going
room,
to say,
obviously,
I
but
see a dex check coving into view. 2.
no problem.
The faith you have in me is amazing.
Right, let's move some other people further along, because obviously you're not the only person moving. I've just got some people further ahead already.
Fish, you just turned red. That's better. I've seen no, not
Okay,
again.
actually I just put that in the wrong place, because in fact she does turn the corner even though she hasn't
Dang it.
seen you up ahead. So I'm going to say that is the position at the moment, and she has just turned down Villa's Lane. So the two of you that are coming in, that are chasing behind her, you know that your fellows are attempting to cut her off, but you don't know exactly where they are, and you can see that she has turned off Burnt Wagon Way. What are you going to do?
Only thing I can do: start running down straight at the tusks, and then turn right.
Yep, we're not cutting her off on this side, so.
Oh, well, as soon as you run down there, like, you would be heading off down that way.
So, peering around the corner, you're seeing where she's going. You're going to head out.
How dare this NPC
Okay,
have
so
such-
important thing. Let's find out. Can you actually move your own tokens? Hopefully, they should be associated with your character.
So I'm looking to come
should
down
be.
this way and then head up here.
So you're going to head down the Street of the Tusks and turn that way. Okie dokie. Right, so I know where you're going. You're obviously not there yet, so let's just bring you back up here for the moment. But I know where you're going now. I take it the two that are following are just going to stay on her trail as best you can.
Keep following.
And Shrine. So I'm going to need another jump from you now, Shrine.
Right.
And you can see from your vantage point up here, you can see what's going on. Less because you can see her, and more because you can see the reaction of your fellows as to what's happening. Jumping across Burnt Wagon Way would need a pretty good roll.
Where it's actually labelled 174, that is a building, isn't it?
That is, yes, that is the Bowyer's Guild. So that's going to be a tall building because it's a guild house.
How wide is Burnt Wagon Way?
Wide enough to be an issue.
Is
Probably
there
about 30
a
feet.
large wagon on Burnt Wagon Way that she could jump onto and then jump back across the rest of the street?
There might be, but she's got to get that far before she'll know.
It isn't gummy bears.
I am going.
And look, if there is a wagon of hay anywhere on the street, then you can jump down from any height. I know. I've seen some of the Assassin's Creed play. I know that's the way it works. Doesn't matter how high you are, so long as there's a wagon.
Yes. I am aiming to go for it. I am plotting that route.
Okay, so do you want to jump across to this
Yes.
foremost building now?
Okay. This is a long one as well.
This is not as long as Burnt Wagon Way, but it is.
No. That is a 7.
Workers convenient.
That makes
No,
sense.
it's the workers who are going to
Dexter-
conveniently be carrying a piece of glass.
Okay, so
assuming I need a
2d6
dex check as well. I got-
plus 1 for the distance.
Okay. Don't face block. Don't face block.
No, it's the cart of hay, and the halfling ducks under it, fine, and then runs into the pane of glass that the.
I thought
Okay,
everybody
so
went
that
either side of the pane of glass except Lucian.
Yeah, that is a total of 13. I rolled maximum. 2d6 plus 1.
13. Okay, so yeah, you will sail across to the far side without too much trouble and make me a dex check.
You got double 6. Wow.
You're actually jumping all the way across Burnt Wagon Way.
Not yet. No, I'm
Not
jumping
yet,
into
not
lots
that far
of
yet.
stupid things before I get to Burnt Wagon Way. I'm going to give Burnt Wagon Way a go, though.
If
Oh, Jesus.
2d6 is not going to be enough to get you across Burnt Wagon Way. However, you do have brownie point dice.
Yes, I know.
Let me look
Can I
up how
use
many
them
brownie
for
point
extending
dice
my
you've
jump?
You
Let
know,
me think
You
about
can
this
add
for a
them-
second.
You can add them to any die roll. Is the
Right.
theory?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, but
you-
are we
you
going
really
to
are.
allow
You're-
it for Drut to do this?
You're up to
No,
5d4,
I
in
would
fact.
love, I would love for Drut to actually succeed. The problem is the chances of her falling.
Okay. My dex check, 14 versus 16, so that's fine. Do I need to make a jump roll to get down?
Like, no,
to
you'll get to this building without any trouble whatsoever.
Okay.
This next building along.
Right. I will, however, need to jump to get onto the Bowyer's Guild, won't I?
Okay, you will need to climb if you want to get on.
Climb,
the
okay,
guild.
climb roll.
This is a big, impressive guild hall.
Okay. So,
But even if she falls, she doesn't have much leg to break anyway.
I'm a half elf, dear, not a halfling. That is a 9 on my 6.
Okay, so yeah, you can climb up on top of there. That we're going to leave you there for the moment because that further jumping and running and climbing is going to take you a little bit of time while we
Con 14. No, I'm actually okay.
track where the others are getting to, and I'm going to say the others are getting to roughly there for the moment, when unfortunately Lucien and Anja espy a small problem, which is that far from heading down Velar's Lane, she has in fact ducked into Velar's Lane and then immediately turned left behind the building that Shrine is looking to jump onto, ducking into that alley there.
Unexpected plot twist.
I immediately tell Carps, wait, turn right here.
And where you are, you can't see that she's done it.
Oh no, I can't see, but I can feel Jitterbug get closer to me.
I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, okay, you make me a just a straight wisdom check, I think, to see how well you're reading Jitterbug's location.
If I look up, can I see Shrine's head poking up, or, standing on the roof?
At this point, you can see her just reaching the rooftop. Yeah, she's just attached to the wall at the moment, coming over the top.
Okay. I call out, Shrine, and gesture down towards the alleyway rather than further down Velar's Lane.
Okay, so that did not look like a successful roll from Knobwobble. So
This is team play.
the direction, you've got the direction, you've got the approximate distance, but it's not quite enough for you to catch the Jinkin movement.
Sure.
What you're feeling could still be on Velar's Lane. However, you are just over here at the end of the street. You're crossing Burnt Wagon Way at the moment. So although it is not aimed at you, you hear Anja calling out to Shrine.
Oh.
So the
Do I hear that
information
as well?
that Anja is passing on to Shrine, you will pick up on. Unfortunately, you've gone slightly further down, and it's not quite going to get to you, but it can be relayed by Knobwobble.
Yeah. Hey, turn right into the next alley.
Is there enough gap between those houses to?
Yeah, there's. You've got a choice. You'll get yelled at when you're roughly alongside this building, so you can either just try and get through the gap between this one and the next building, or you can grind to a halt and go a couple of paces back.
I think it's going to be quicker to take the next right rather than back up.
Yeah, okay. So I am going to ask for a dexterity check, just to see how quickly you get through. There is a gap between the buildings. You can squeeze through it without too much trouble. It's how fast you can squeeze through it.
What is my dex? I've rolled 13. My dex is on a different tab. 14. Made it by 1.
Nicely done. Okay.
Alright, people with physical stats.
Ranger.
Yeah.
So let's just see where Shrine has got to. What is Shrine doing now precisely?
Shrine is taking a jump and begging the good graces of the rest of the party.
Right, so a reminder of how brownie point dice work, because this is not a rule from AD&D 2nd edition, this is a rule from Fish. and I tend to use them in any game that doesn't have specific bonus dice of some kind. So I won't use it when I finally get around to running Talk, for example, because that has possibilities. I wouldn't use it in Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, which has fate points. However, in a game that doesn't have such things, I tend to introduce brownie point dice. They are earned generally as a number of d4s. There's a maximum number of each die type that you can earn, and they can be upgraded. So you can trade in 2d4s for a d6, and you can trade in 2d6s for a d8, etc., etc. The maximum number of brownie point dice that you can apply to any roll is equal to the die type, the dice that are involved in that roll. So this is a 2d6 roll, so you could apply up to 2d6 of brownie point dice to it, in theory. You've currently got 5d4.
Right.
Okay. Honestly, it would be epic for Shrine to make it, but you'd have to roll all of them very high. So I'm okay with you using the brownie points. I'm not okay with you guys.
I could only use 2.
I mean, you could use 2d4s on it, or you could use 4 of those d4s to trade them in for 2d6s.
For 2d6.
But that
To
would
be
only
honest,
leave you
I'd
with
rather-
one brownie point left in the...
Yeah, to be honest, I would rather go with the 2d4.
Okay. I will be honest with you, by the way.
curve
If
is
you
probably
make this
better.
roll, you're earning a brownie point die.
I think the curve on 2d4 is probably better than on 1d6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fish, what?
Wasn't there an option to use 4d4 for 2d6?
You can cash in 2d4 for a d6, and she can use up to 2d6s.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
that
don't
would-
wanna chew up
She
the
could use
entire
almost
pot.
all of your brownie point dice to roll an extra 2d6.
Yeah.
Roll,
For the
Yeah,
record, I have no objection to using
I
the
don't.
entire pot.
No, I don't want to chew it up. I want to
Okay.
leave you guys.
Okay, so I will just take off 2d4s that you're going to use.
Because this is nonsense.
It's
What I'm doing
But
is
it's fun
nonsense.
nonsense.
it's heroic nonsense.
Yeah.
Literally.
This is where you fail the proficiency check.
This is where you either make it a Wile E cartoon or an anime for sure.
Such heroic nonsense.
Yeah, fair.
Some people
Oh,
come with a
God.
cracking noise at the like ceramic plate underneath her.
So
And I have
Collapse.
instruments of destruction stuff.
Yeah.
can we
Great.
can we have the proficiency check, please?
Okay.
Actually, let's have Dare playing while you are trying to attempt this jump. But it's
I don't unfortunately have a drum roll
Yeah.
that I can play on my soundscape, which is a shame.
2.
That's not really what we wanted. I just pressed the wrong one.
I think it's perfect for the face that she's making.
I was aiming for.
Okay.
We suddenly encountered the evil villain.
No, this is actually some bastards put a wall of force up about halfway
Yeah.
along the road. Boink.
So, okay, you make your proficiency check,
Okay.
and you now
You're very
have
sinister.
2d6 plus 2d4 plus 1
Yeah.
for distance jumped.
Let's get the 2d6 done.
Up to a maximum of just over 30
Okay.
feet.
So that's 10,
cool.
which is a good start. Now the 2d4.
It's okay, we'll be here to pick up the pieces off the pavement when you're done.
$19.
19.
2 4s.
Wow.
Okay, so you hurl yourself into space off the top of this.
Break my ankle when I
building.
land.
If this was a shorter building, you would be meeting pavement. However, because you are a good 2 floors higher than the building you're
Yeah.
aiming for, your arc carries you across
Yay.
to land on the building on the far side.
Jeff.
Parkour!
Right, well, I'm going to ask for tumbling checks specifically, which
Okay,
since you
so
don't
that's
have
half
it,
dex.
means it's going to be half dex, yes.
So 8's on my d20.
I'm
Well,
just
I
going to
guess
check
a
whether it's straight. The tumbling is a straight dex. I think it is.
I
Yeah,
think
straight
it is
dex.
straight dex.
So
yeah.
half your dexterity. This is to reduce the falling damage.
Okay, that's fine. So 8 or less.
Yeah.
Okay, don't fuck it up now. Excuse me. It's been cool. Don't fuck it up. 7.
7. Okay, so a successful tumble check reduces the distance falling by the falling damage by 1d6. You would have been taking 1d6 falling damage. So I still want a dexterity check not to fall over at the far end,
Yeah.
but you have tumbled to avoid the falling damage that you would otherwise have taken from that.
Made my dex
Huge
check
leap.
by 4.
Okay, so yeah, you're on a rooftop.
Wow.
On the roof.
Even with the dex check, that is arresting your movement.
Yeah,
Um,
which is fine by me.
You
because
didn't fall off the
stuff.
building, and you didn't take any falling damage.
Yeah,
But
you've
that was
jumped
such a big
19
jump
foot.
that you've got this moment of sort of rolling to a halt on top of the building just before you fall off the far side, and it will take you a moment to get your bearings.
Can I see her?
Right. Cops squeezes between the buildings and comes around the corner in time to see the halfling pull up short as she sees him. In front of you, almost directly in front of you, there is a fair-sized pile of detritus. There's a couple of wooden pallets and some boxes, thin wooden crates, the kind of stuff that would have been used to carry relatively light materials around in, now empty and dumped. However, as she stares at you and the pallets in shock, you realise that this is a setup. Because the look on her face is
Is a
not just,
smile.
damn, I've been cut off. It's, oh crap, everything's gone horribly wrong.
Oh,
And it's as you
set up
glance,
from her end.
it is a setup from her end, but you foiled it. And as you glance at the pallets in front of you, you see inside the pallets, attached loosely to them, 2 clay files, which, if the pallets had been tipped over, would shatter. Clearly, her plan was to drop these behind her and then head through exactly where you have come out. But now she is stumped for a moment because she has no idea what to do. And at this stage, I think we're going to go into initiative.
It's a good plan. It was a good plan.
Mm.
So, I can't remember whether I can do
A nefarious
an
scheme
automatic
has been
roll
thwarted.
initiative for everybody. I think I might be able to. But if I can, I
Justice
can't
shall
remember
always
how.
prevail.
Oh, that's nice. There's a delay button. Didn't realise that was it. No, I'm sure there is a roll initiative for everybody option, but I'm damned if I can remember how to do it. Doesn't help that, unfortunately, since I last used this combat tracker in the AD&D rule set, it's been updated, and it's really cool. And loads of good stuff has been done with it. I just can't remember how to use it. Initiative. Roll all initiatives. Bingo. There we go. So, we've got an initiative for everybody. Well, we've got an initiative for everybody except her. I'll roll her manually because I haven't put her into the combat tracker at the moment. Right. So, fastest initiative is Shrine.
What?
How I've been doing initiative, the initiative rules in second edition are a little bit interesting. They work, but they are a bit tedious sometimes. So how I have been handling this up to now is for actions to be declared in reverse order and then carried out in initiative order, because then that way when you declare what your initiative action is going to be, I can adjust it for things like weapon speed and so on and so forth. So the slowest initiative apparently is actually going to be Knobwobble, who is probably a little further towards the end of the alley than that, and can see, although you're still between the buildings, you could see what was going on. So you don't necessarily see the revelation that Carps had of what the trap was, but you can see that the halfling has ground to a halt and is looking panicked ahead of you, and you can see your friends coming in behind her to head her off. So what does Knobwobble want to do?
So just to be clear, Spook makes a person run away in the opposite direction of the caster, in fear of the caster.
Yeah, away from the caster, essentially, is what it comes down to.
I'm wanting, and you guys can tell me no if you want to, but I'm wanting to make her run back the way she came in a blind panic and run it right into Lucian and Anzer. The cast time is 1, so...
Is 1, so yeah, you would start casting on whatever your initiative actually is. Your initiative is 9, so you would start casting on 9 and the spell would complete on 10. It's
okay.
A pretty quick spell. Most wizard spells are. They tend, with some exceptions, wizard spells tend to be sort of like 1 per caster level, per spell level. So yeah, that's an entirely reasonable thing.
It'll be the first time I've used this spell.
Adjust your initiative to 10 to indicate when it's actually going to go off, and we will move to Lucian to get a declaration of Lucian's action.
I feel like doing like any kind of weapon-based thing is probably overkill. But I'm
well,
not
unless
quite...
you want to use non-lethal.
Yeah, there are rules for non-lethal damage. You do take a penalty to hit if you're trying not to kill people with a weapon. Or there's always grappling or just punching people in the head, which is by default non-lethal damage, but doesn't do a great deal of damage.
How does grappling work? Like this?
Now that is an awkward question. I would have to look it up, but
consult the phone book.
But grappling is entirely a thing. It can be done. I can look it up.
I can look it up while you.
If it
Is
looks
it
too
one of those
complicated,
hellish ones that has lots of maths?
I don't think so. No.
I'll look it up, Fishy, if you want to.
That's greatly appreciated. So your intended action is to run forward and grapple her, then, is it?
Yeah. Makes the most sense to me.
Okay. In that case, your initiative, you're going to be effectively unarmed for this, and the default initiative modifier for a medium-sized creature using natural attacks is 3, so that will put you up to an initiative of 12 for actually acting. We'll skip over Stephen and Stephanie, who I really ought to take off the combat tracker since she's not actually here at the moment, or she is but not doing anything, which means Carp's declaration of intent.
What
Other
sort of
than
equipment are we
sniggering
assumed to be
evilly.
carrying with us at this point?
Whatever your normal everyday carrying around stuff is.
Just in case, I would think that you would want to move around to the bottom side there to keep her from going down.
Yeah, I was thinking it as to what of my adventuring gear I'd have, but we're not really adventuring, so I wouldn't.
Do you have a net?
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't have.
That's in the
Carry your
adventuring gear.
adventurous gear
I've
at all
just decided I
times.
probably wouldn't have that with me.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, if it's fair to assume that your net is usually either in or attached to your backpack, it's unlikely that you're
Yeah,
carrying your backpack.
that's exactly where it's written on the character sheet. It's in the backpack.
So there you go.
Bugger.
Stereo bugger.
And we have to see if I can find a smaller pocket-sized net for just this sort of occasion. But for now,
Nobubble will have to invent you a collapsible net.
I tend to
Made
wear
out
a
of-
wrestling
made out of
belt
spider
when it's
silk.
out.
so what I want to do is get close enough to grapple her and bring her down. Now,
Yeah.
obviously, she can't come this way, so she's only got two options. One is to back out, which puts her into Lucian's path, so she's probably going to want to come down this way. So I'm going to head to roughly this area with the aim of intercepting her, because I think that's where she's going to go as well.
Okay, so that's going to put you up to 10 for your actual initiative, because again, that's going to be a speed of 3 for an unarmed. We'll treat this as unarmed because you're grappling and moving.
Yep.
So, Anja, besides looking up rules and cheerleading, what's Anja going to be doing?
Everyone's going to be moving. Everyone's moving for. A spellcast of one round won't take effect until the next round, would it?
It would happen at the end of the round. It's a full round spell.
Yeah. Which means everyone else will potentially be engaged by the time the spell goes off. Okay, Andra's... I mean, that still might be worthwhile. No, actually it wouldn't be. So what Andra will do is basically pull out my staff and basically move to block the exit here.
Okay. What's the weapon speed on your staff? Actually, I
weapon speed
can
of a staff
find
is
out because I've
4
got
or
it
6.
here. I should have it in front of me. No, I've got a button where I can actually roll initiative for your staff, but it doesn't tell me what the calculation is, unfortunately. So,
The staff has its own initiative?
As a weapon speed.
yeah, the initiative is modified by weapon speed. So, hence the fact that I keep going first in the AD&D game that I'm playing in, because I'm using 2 weapon style specialization and a magic bastard sword. Which, when you combine those 2 things together, gives me a weapon speed of 0.
Wow,
Nice.
Yeah,
that's a bit.
it's a very magic bastard sword.
Isn't it though?
But then we are raiding Undermountain against a 5e scenario that, therefore, is really quite tough compared to 2nd edition versions. So, weapon speed 4? Yeah, 4. Right, and before asking what Shrine is doing, which is where we're going next, I would like Shrine to make me an alertness check.
Alertness check was that?
Yes.
Sorry, you dropped out slightly.
Yeah, an alertness roll, please.
Okay. I need 6 or less. And I got a 1.
Okay. In that case...
I'm loading so many modules right now.
so did this little halfling lead us into a trap?
Potential trap, one that they were hoping to to initiate. Instead, the trapper became the trappee.
Yes, and you did it with style, which means you're trapeze artist.
Yay!
Right, so
I was hoping
Shrine
someone would pick that up.
Yeah.
can see the
And the gold
two
tactic.
can see the two club wielding guys coming up from this southern alley,
Right.
heading towards the halfling.
How far away is the halfling from me?
Close-ish, but you know,
the
there's a
weapon?
downward distance that
Yep.
adds to
What's
it.
the weapon speed on the grappling hook?
That's a bloody good question.
I want to go halfling fishing.
Oh, that sounds painful. Oh,
Okay,
oh God, you're gonna hurt.
I'm just going to assign that. I'm just going to assign that a weapon speed of 5 because that just seems reasonable to me for a grappling hook. Because I don't think it's not expected to be used as a weapon, so I don't think it actually has a weapon speed in the rulebook.
Yeah, but it's established that Shrine carries her rope and grappling hook wrapped around her as a belt. I have described it. I think it's even in the picture.
Okay, so yeah, that still has you going first then, because you had a much better initiative than everybody else. You're going on 7, and the next
Right.
actor is on 10.
What I would like to do, and I am willing for you to say,
Bear in
don't
mind
support
that
silly.
combat rounds in AD&D 2nd Edition are a minute, and during that time you can move, in addition to your action, up to 10 times your movement rate, which in the case of a human or half-elf like you
Yeah.
is 120 feet.
Feet.
Now there's a little bit less that you can move, because if you start running 120 feet right now, I'm asking for dexterity checks to not fall off a building.
Right. What I am after, and as I said, I am perfectly willing for you to say don't support silly, is to move to there, and I should probably, in fact, because I need an angle, probably about there. Oh, come on. Sorry.
I mean, if you're right above her head, you just gotta drop the grappling hook down and grab her belt.
That's not happening. That's more precision than I'm capable of at this height. No, what I'm doing is I want enough of an angle that I can go for her legs.
Fair enough.
The grappling hook end going round the legs, ideally hitting itself.
A trip attack, basically.
Trip attack, and then I want to lift, I want to go fishing, I want to get her up onto the roof.
The most likely result of this trip attack is that you trip her using the hook itself. So you are looking at gouging holes in her legs. It's not the most friendly way of doing it.
It's not, but on the other hand, they don't look terribly friendly.
Yeah,
And we've
fair
got a
enough.
healer.
Okay, so this is going to be an attack using your non-weapon proficiency penalty, because this is
Yep.
not a use that
Just
you
clobber
normally
her on the head
use.
with it.
Right.
However, what I will say, if you have rope use,
Don't be silly.
in that case, don't worry about it. If you had been cups, then you could have done it with your as if you were proficient because you had rope use. But
Action is just an expedition into skill Shrine doesn't have.
yeah, that's largely I when I'm coming up with what the scenario is going to be, I just write everything. But what does Drut not have? That's why it wasn't a rooftop chase, as I said. It was just
Like,
because
what
you could have climbed.
What does Drut not have, but will succeed at the roll anyway?
Yeah.
It's rope use done on Dex.
I'm not gonna. It's not. I'm not gonna let
It's
you.
not
make
a-
roll
okay,
against
it's not
it.
a default
No,
roll,
this is an.
okay.
If you had rope use, I would have treated you as proficient with the grappling hook.
What's my non-weapon proficiency penalty? Is it the same for everybody, or is it different for fighters?
It is not. It is different for fighters. For fighters, I believe it is -2. I will double check that, but I believe it is -2 because you get the best non-weapon proficiency penalty
Yeah.
of everybody being a fighter. It is indeed -2 for warriors, -5 for wizards, 3 for priests and rogues.
And for this one, I'm rolling high because this is a
Yes,
THACO.
this is a roll to hit. against
Yes.
her armor class. Your THAC0 is 20, but you do get, I believe, a modifier for dexterity.
My
because
THAC0
we're
is
house
19,
ruling in.
effectively.
So your THAC0 is effectively 19. With a -2 penalty makes your THAC0 21.
Yeah. So, if she's armor class 0, I need a 21 out on the D20. That ain't
Yes,
happening.
if she's armor class 0, you need a 21 on a D20.
Yeah.
She doesn't look like she's wearing field plates to you,
She might be.
but she
Trixie
does look
Hobbit.
like she might have a dex bonus.
Yes. So I'm just going to try for as high as I can get. And I realise that this is still random chance.
Well, because of your very careful dicing earlier, there's still more dice left in the
Yeah, that's true.
thingy pile.
No,
The thing for
I can't remember what the word is.
I know.
There's actually
I
slightly
thought that
more.
was awesome.
There's actually slightly more brownie point dice than there are currently showing, because I did say I was going to give you a brownie
That's
point
it,
if
brownie
you
points,
made the
thank you.
roll. So you went back
that
up
is
to
a roll of
14.
18.
A roll of 18.
I hit armor class 3 by my
Okay.
reckoning.
Yeah, her armor class is not that good. That is a successful roll. So, I'm going to call that a D4 damage.
Okay. True.
Harming a child.
Not a child.
Lucian's opinion of Athena has dropped even further somehow.
And I'm going to call this a petrification saving throw to avoid falling over. She's probably not going to make it.
Is she a cleric?
When I roll a
like
3,
this
she
point.
definitely isn't going to make it.
Yeah.
So yeah, how much damage did you do?
2.
Okay.
The question is, have I hooked her? And if I have hooked her, am I waiting until next round to reel her in?
Right, you have hooked her, and the act of hooking has pulled her from her feet.
Okay.
So yeah, she is now prone and has taken a couple of hit points of damage.
Yep. That could have been worse.
So
Lucian does not approve.
the next actor is Nobble. Right,
I
so to
know,
get
let's
into
adjust
range,
it.
you're going to need to move forward a bit. But
I do have a question about when I'm casting a spell. Do I have to restart casting in order to change target?
I'm going to say no, because I'm generous. I will allow you to pick the target at the point that the spell goes off.
All right,
Normally,
then
rules as written, it would probably be that you designate the target at the point that you start casting it.
Fair enough.
And that you then can't change it from that stage onwards. But I'm going to be nice, and I am going to allow you to change it.
I'm going to change it to one of the big, healthy, club-wielding guys.
Okay.
Because I've seen that the halfling has been tripped.
Right, so yeah, the closest club wielding guy will make a saving throw against.
Let's see. It's a -1 penalty for each experience level, or for every 2 experience levels. So it's a -1 penalty to the saving throw.
Right, so
What's it against, though?
saving throw
As
versus
spell
spell.
everyone's got various saving throws.
Yeah, unless there is a specific reason, otherwise any magic will be rolled again on the save versus spell. So let me make a roll on his save versus spell. And funnily enough, 2 does not save. Fantasy Grounds dice roll just as well as my real nice metal ones, apparently. 2s and 3s all the way.
So that one gets to make a saving throw every turn, but uses their turn to run as far away as possible from the caster.
Use the spellcaster as someone or something inimical. Some wonderful word.
And
Inimical.
it specifically says that the spook, that spell that they think they're being chased by, is something that
Maximum
they
speed
are.
as far from the wizard as possible.
Yep.
So He's very unhappy, and on his initiative is indeed going to turn and run like Jesus.
Coward.
In casting this, Knobwobble just says shoo shoo.
Right, let me do this. I hope this will work. Right, so Knobwobble wants to. Just trying to work out the new combat tracker. It's very different to what it used to look like, and it's got a lot more functionality on it, but I haven't actually learned that functionality yet. So how do I target? I used to know. With the old one I knew how to target a particular thing. I now don't necessarily know.
Let's now target all.
So let's try just a drag and drop. Right, I think that actually did it. I should have just done that in the first place. So yeah, what I did there, just so that you know, from the combat tracker, I've got your list of spells here, and I can just drag the cast button from that to the appropriate target. Fantasy Grounds rolls the saving throw. I'd already rolled the saving throw, but fortunately it failed again. And has now actually applied, hopefully, the effect that it is spooked from that spell.
I'm not seeing it.
Maybe hasn't.
Let me see if I can drag it on from.
I mean, we won't. Yeah. We don't see the club wielding assailants on the combat tracker. So if there is
they are concealed.
Applying there, then we won't see it.
But no, I'm slightly confusingly, it doesn't seem to have added an effect for that. Let me see whether I can do it manually. It's going to be easier if I just do it manually. Right, now he's spooked. I don't know why it didn't. I would have expected when we cast the spell on him for that effect to have automatically been placed when he failed his saving throw, but since it didn't, I've just done it manually, and that's dealt with. So there we go. He is now spooked. Save to break, duration 10. Ta-da! So that is the Knobwobble's thing done. And next up is Cops.
No, I was moving to intercept our little rogue
now
halfling,
on the floor, yeah.
Who's now on the floor. Can I now see the two?
Yeah. You can see, for starters, that out of the corner of your eye, you can see that Knobwobble's attention has shifted from her to somebody in the alley. And looking in that direction, you can just about see the one furthest away from you, because the angle that he's at, he's less concealed by the building.
Also, it was quite obvious the casting and the shooing away of persons in the alley.
And you'll probably hear the screaming from around there as well as the spell kicks in.
Do they look more intent on harming us or her?
To be honest, without moving forward, you can't really tell. I will let you reassess after you move forward if you want to.
Okay, in which case, can I switch my target, because she's already been brought down and grappled, from her to the one that isn't running away?
Okay, so moving forward so you can see what's there reveals some information. Firstly, it reveals that they are human and they're fairly common looking thugs, you would say. They're wielding clubs, but you notice that their clubs are wrapped in leather, so they're slightly padded. They look like they would do non-lethal damage in game terms, rather than being intended to crack skulls.
They're for a beating, not a killing.
You are also the first person to see that there are in fact more of them.
Oh shh.
And if I press the right button, it really
Finally, a worthy opponent.
You're not even there yet!
Reveal the third one there.
Hey, don't worry. One of them is running the frick away, and that might get the others being like, what? Especially when I use it again on another one.
And the fifth one there. So the first two to reach the scene were already visible, and that's what you've been focused on. But there are another three coming up behind them. They are all armed, as I say, with what look like, essentially you would say they're more like koshes, large koshes, rather than traditional clubs. They do have a wooden core, but then they've got this leather padding around them. So the sort of thing that you might use, say, if you were going to kidnap or hurt somebody, rather than
if I was going to press gang someone to join my ship.
Press gang someone, yes. That's from Carp's point of view. That looks like a press a press gang.
Back in sec, I've just realised I can see my breath.
I would put some heating on if I were you, Drop.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Yeah.
So you are in a position to shift your attention. You can see that number 3 is running screaming, or is in the process of turning to run screaming. The one at number 2, the one closest to the front, doesn't seem really to know what he's doing yet. He looks like he is assessing the situation. He has not displayed any aggressive action towards the halfling that you have seen. He looks a bit confused, like this isn't going how he was briefed. It's not what he was expecting.
Right. Can I change my action given the whole situation has changed?
You can change
Like the
your
target I was
action.
going
May
for is
impose an
now
initiative penalty.
tripped up. Unhook both axes. Just stand there, both axes. She's ours. Turn around, go away.
Okay, yeah, you can do that. So that's basically an intent to intimidate.
Does he get any bonuses with the other one screaming?
I hope so, because
Well,
I don't have the
there are-
intimidate skill.
There are morale rules in this game.
Yes.
Okay, so intimidate can be rolled on either charisma or strength. So do you want to make me a roll against half of whichever of those you choose?
I will choose strength because that is the higher of the two. I've got more of a chance. Rounding up or down?
Round mathematically, so rounding up.
Right. Bollocks. Failed by 1.
Oh,
Okay, he does not.
can brownie
look
points be
convinced.
used after the? No, they're just for dice. Never mind.
You know, I honestly can't remember whether I normally allow brownie points to be decided after. I think I normally required.
Previously
brownie
you've
points to
said
be
we have to
rolled
call it before we roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
But
so.
in a situation like this, the way it would work is if you rolled brownie point dice, they would add to your proficiency value effectively. Because obviously you can't add them to the dice. That would be silly. That would make you less likely to fail. So they would add to the proficiency value instead.
Oh, that explains why it was so cold in here.
Okay,
Somebody
so-
trekked through the snow to put a pizza leaflet through my letterbox. And it was wedged open.
Ah,
I hate it when they do that.
Is going to bring us to Onsha, who has his quarterstaff at the ready. You can now see that the halfling has been downed by Shrine, who is pretending to be a cowboy. And you can also see Carps run forward, pull up short, hoik out his 2 axes, and hear him, yell at somebody down in the alley there that you can't really see. She's ours.
I don't suppose I can change my action then to a spell to go off at the end of the round. Or...
Yeah, I will allow that. What I would
Okay.
say is that your current initiative will become your base initiative and add the spell.
Sure. Well, I mean, the spell
casting
is one
time to that.
round.
If
so...
it's a full round casting time, that's not going to make a difference to you.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, I move forward, see have a better view of what the situation is.
Let's see. I think probably you've got to come quite a way forward to get a good.
Yeah.
And even then,
Well-
you can't see the ones at the furthest back. But
I simply see that it's more that Cops has taken up a defensive stance. So obviously there are things that he that he can see that I
to be
can't,
defended against.
and I will trust in his assessment. So in which case, where are my notes? I instead start tracing sigils in the air, and by our actions writ large and small, blessed be the deeds we pen, and cast Bless. Unfortunately, it won't affect Shrine because she has already entered combat effectively. Unless you're going to say that the grapple attempt wasn't,
Yeah, that's a good question.
because Bless specifically says it won't affect people who have already initiated melee combat.
Oh, it's
And that's the thing. So this is a bit of an edge case.
it's kind of range
Yeah,
rather
it's
than
interesting.
melee.
Well, I've just found a flaw in the rule set, apparently, or a flaw somewhere. It may not be in the rule set, it may be in when I created your character. That the Bless spell as being shown on your character sheet is wrong. So
It's possible I have messed up my character sheet because the spell bits don't quite work the way I thought they did. I may need to go through with you at some point to fix my sheet.
I think part of the problem is probably with me, because when I was setting this up in Fantasy Grounds, I think I may have messed up that spell, but I can get the spell from... That's more like it. Yeah, I think I kind of slightly a little bit just gave you the wrong spell and renamed it, or
Oh, right.
somehow your Bless spell is actually a Detect Magic. So we'll just swap that over on the character sheet for the correct Bless spell at some point in the not too distant future. But in the meantime, I've got Bless here, and yeah, it's a 50-foot cube with a range of 60 yards.
I'm guessing 50 foot will get everyone who is friendly.
You know, the only person that you wouldn't be able to get with it is probably going to be Shrine, who has already entered combat. So, unfortunately, I'm also going to say that Nobobble has entered combat because he's cast an offensive spell, essentially.
Well, the specific has entered melee combat.
Melee combat. In that case, yes, he's alright, isn't he?
Yeah, it's just.
I was going to say I haven't entered combat. I'm making the combat run away.
He's making the combat run away, but yeah.
And that's the thing, it's like whether or not Shrine counts as technically melee combat as opposed to range combat, but we might be splitting hairs here.
Yeah, she was holding on to the weapon when it hit.
Yes.
I'm calling that melee.
Nice try, but never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, Blessing only affects those not already engaged in melee combat. I think I am going to count Shrine, but Shrine is probably going to be out of range anyway. So
Yeah, because I mean I'm up on the roof, so.
push you up on a rooftop. So we will call that
Although it is a cube effect.
50
so
foot.
whether-
Actually, it's got to be a pretty big building,
Yeah.
isn't it? For that not to.
No.
Either way, it's not relevant because I've already
Exactly,
declared that
yeah.
she has entered melee combat. So
Yeah.
not an issue.
So everyone gets basically a +1 to their attack roll. So
So yeah, and that will kick in at the end of the round. So what I'll do is I'll handle the casting of that at that point, because that should give an effect to everybody, which will be handled automatically. And when it doesn't, I'll manually add the effect.
yeah.
I'd like to point out it's not that the rule set doesn't work; it's that I don't work the rule set properly.
I won't necessarily close the page on the grappling rules, but
yeah,
I suspect that those have gone out of the window right now.
Yeah.
So, on the subject of grappling and things likely to go out of windows, Lucian.
First thing, I'm going to throw grappling out the window. But I'm not actually sure what to do in this now, because it's not aware of the other folks.
No, but you will be as soon as you move forward.
Yeah, I mean, you were coming forward as part of your originally stated action. You can redefine what you're doing when you run forward and realise that the situation has changed. And the obvious thing is that as you run forward, you discover that there is a villain down there with a club in hand, waiting to receive some justice, and simply shift target.
In that case, is it possible for me to draw my sword and charge down this scoundrel?
Yes, but I'm going to add to your initiative because you're taking the time to draw the weapon. So I'm just going to knock your initiative up to. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this delay button and basically put you at the end of the round, which really would be the thing to do for Onja as well, since he's casting a full round spell. Right, so that brings us to unidentified creature number 3. It's his initiative now, and he takes one look at the terrifying gnome. Screams, "Oh my god, keep them away from me," and runs like hell. Next round, I'll give him a saving throw to see whether or not he can recover, but for the moment, he is running like hell. So, the next one is going to step in and attempt to engage Carps, since he's made himself a target and failed to intimidate. So, he is going to be attacking with his club against Carps.
Who, according to my sheet here, is AC 7.
Yep. So I love the way this Fantasy Grounds works. The chat window is showing me an attack with Thaco 20, roll of 11 versus Carp Storm Squall, hits armor class 9 versus 7, which is therefore a miss. All that wonderful data that it gives me. It's lovely that I get all of that information neatly arrayed. So I can see
all we see from the player side is a silhouette of the die rolling in the die box, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things I particularly like is that it's got the breakdown on there, because it's so easy when you're making something like this just to declare a miss or a hit, and without any of the numbers. But because I know the numbers, if we've made a mistake, if I've forgotten to apply a modifier, I can manually apply it afterwards because I know what it would have been. I know what the result was. So that's a miss. Next guy is going to. Actually, let's move Lucian a bit further forward, because he was running forward before changing weapons. So I think this guy is actually going to foolishly engage Lucian, trying to strike him down before he gets a chance to draw that sword of his.
Sorry.
Finally, a challenge.
But that's a miss as well.
I mean, I'm not an expert.
Yeah, you're armor class 4, no wonder he missed.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think clubs are all too effective against chainmail.
Well, actually, they can be quite effective against chain, because one of the things with chain is flexible. So, in fact, if you're talking not about stabbing people, but about breaking ribs, chain doesn't do a damn thing. It doesn't help you at all.
No.
I suppose in that case, yeah.
Yeah, it's the padding that you wear underneath your chain that is what's protecting you in this instance, and you will be
having LARPed in fantasy settings. I can vouch for that, because half of the people that wear chain armor are wearing steel chain, and the chain armor was steel. But when someone whacks you in the chest with a foam hammer at full pelt, it still knocks the wind out of you.
Yeah, because you're not getting hit by foam; you're getting hit by steel driven into you by foam.
When you LARPed, did you wear a gambeson underneath the steel?
Don't be silly.
Yeah, you see, real warriors would have worn all that padding underneath, which is what really protects them in a situation like that.
I had a very thin
cool
piece of costuming that replicated the look of a gambeson, but nowhere near the protection.
Ouch.
Hey, at least you learned your lesson.
Oh yeah.
Next guy. next guy takes one look at this situation and basically does a runner. So the last you see of them, they are ducking round down this side alley behind the building that Carps is fighting at the other end of.
I think they're trying to get around us.
And then vanishes. Whether they're fleeing or whether they're trying, as Nobwobble suggested, to scoot round and get behind you, you can't tell. And last but not least, this one runs up and engages against Cops. Which misses by miles. Armor class 16 doesn't hit a damn thing. Right, so that brings us back to the end of the round. Or at least Lucian. Nearly at the end of the round. So yeah, this guy has run up, bounced his club pointlessly off your chain and gambeson. And you now have your sword in hand. What are you going to do, Lucian?
I stab.
Okay. So you're very subtly saying, here is a man using a non-lethal weapon against me. I will run him through.
Well, he attacked me. He's clearly
Justice doesn't care that he wasn't trying to kill you, does it?
Mercy.
Okay, right. You can attack him. Do you want to roll it manually, or shall I just let Fantasy Grounds do it?
Let Fantasy Grounds do it.
Hey, Robin, I would like to point out that technically your fight is fair. Carp's fight is very much not fair.
Fish, can I just check?
I
This?
just
have two
rolled the
weapons, I
damage
have two
instead of
opponents, I
rolling
don't see the problem.
rolling the to hit. I should really roll to hit.
Fish, is
Let's
this
actually
still
roll
the
to
same
hit and hope
round?
it hits.
Is this then still the same round in which I caught her?
Yes, this is still the same round in which you caught
Just
her.
checking.
Right, so I need to just reset his hit points because you actually missed and I accidentally applied the damage instead of the...
I missed? How could that be?
Yeah, well, that could be because you rolled a 7.
Oh. Fair.
Also, for some reason with a -2 penalty. Why with a -2 penalty? I see why with a -2 penalty. Because it thinks you're not proficient with a longsword, which you are. So... let me just
How could that be?
check. Yeah, you are. We need to finish your character sheet off at some point because apparently you don't have any weapon proficiencies except your bonus for being a cavalier.
Oh, okay.
Oops.
That would explain a bit.
Yeah.
Where is my... I don't actually know where these go. Oh, there they are.
I'm just going to put in a generic proficiency for the moment so that I can set your weapons to actually use the damn thing.
We've got joint songwriting going on here.
Looks like it.
Right, now you won't have the -2 penalty anymore when attacking. That will be helpful. And I'll have to go over your character sheet and check what went wrong. I'm pretty sure I know what went wrong. It's because I had to export the characters from the original scenario and re-import them when I rebuilt the campaign in the AD&D rule set, and obviously the proficiencies went wrong when I did that. So I will double check your character after the session. Meanwhile, that was a miss, and so finally at the end of the round, a bless goes off. Which should
I
be
can
able
feel
to
the
press a
justice
cast
welling
button
up
there.
inside me.
Did that actually work? No, of course it didn't. Right, so I am going to have to add the effect to everybody. So we will bless Lucian. We will bless Cops. We will bless Nobwobble. We've decided we're not blessing Shrine. Does it affect the caster or only other people?
Double check. I think it's all friendly, so it would count
Yeah,
if
so
I'm
long as
within
you're
the
inside
area.
the 50-foot cube, I can see no reason
Yeah.
why it wouldn't affect you, so I shall bless you as well. Bless you, my child. So yeah, that is giving you, each of you, a bonus to attacks, saves, and I think proficiency checks, I think is what that last one means, for 6 rounds.
Oh, this will be done in 2.
So that is the end of that round. Let's have some more initiatives. I will get everybody's base initiative rolled. All initiatives. Okay, so in reverse order for declaration
Wow.
of actions, Lucian.
Oh, someone going slower than me. Blimey.
Lucian has, on a scale of 1 to 10, Lucian got 10 with low numbers being fast.
Slightly what happened is I'm just so shocked that I missed.
That you missed. You can't get over it. You're just staring at your sword. Okay, so when you're already engaged in combat with this guy, presumably your action is just going to be to continue to...
Yeah. I'm
combat
going
with this
to
guy.
run him through again, but this time properly.
This time,
Why don't you try doing it a little bit different? Since running through didn't work, try slashing at.
No, that's not dramatic.
Maybe your sword isn't a thrusting weapon, but is a slashing weapon.
And you've got a weapon
Yeah.
of 5, so let's just update
No,
that.
it definitely
15
has pointy
initiative.
end on the top.
That doesn't mean that it's for stabbing.
Please do not look at the operational end of the device.
The bad guys are basically continuing what they have been doing, so nobody's doing anything special. They are just attempting to hit people with clubs.
Of course, the bad guys all get to go before Lucian.
Yep. Actually, I should up their initiatives for the value of their weapon, which I didn't do last time because they were going after everybody anyway. But that means I've got to remember what the value of the weapon speed of their weapon is. I've got to write this down. I had this all planned out. I was going to get everything put into Fantasy Grounds, ready to go, and it would all be great and good, and this would be neat. And then I realised I hadn't done it. And they have a weapon speed of 4. So, let's give them all some modified weapon speed. Some modified initiative, rather. Okay, so yes, Anja.
I am going to. I'm going to move myself so that I am defending anyone attempting to wrest the halfling down. So basically, I'm going to interpose and just stand there with my quarterstaff.
Okay, so you're going to effectively guard the halfling.
Yeah, exactly. And if anyone comes towards me, if anyone looks like they're coming towards me, then I will strike. So held action, effectively. In guard.
Okay. So you're also going to be going on 8. Shrine.
Yo. Reeling in my
Rather
halfling
than
cat.
pretending to be Catwoman up on the heart
Yep.
on the roof.
I am going to attempt to hoik in.
You've not got the kind of hook on this halfling that is going to let you actually reel her in.
Oh.
You're not a comic book character. You're not that good at grappling people randomly from rooftops.
You're not carps. You don't have rope use and fishing.
Yeah.
How far up am I? What is directly below me?
You're
There's a
probably
handrail.
about 30 feet up, and directly below you is an alley with Anjou and a halfling in it.
Those pallets.
I mean, Anjou might break your fall, but
Those demon pallets.
The demon pellets are over on the far side. Let me just
Okay.
put in.
Come on, it's an alley. There's got to be a big old pile of garbage somewhere around here.
Damn it.
Not that Shrine would be willing to
So
jump in the
the
garbage.
pallets
Why?
are over there. Probably the closest thing there is there would be a water butt, which I would say is on the corner just past the halfling.
Could she break her fall by jumping on one of the villains?
Well, she's made some really impressive jumps already. She could give it a go.
I mean, you might as well finish off Laura Crofting it.
When you say break her fall, what you mean is share it so they both take the same damage.
Yeah, that ain't happening. How far is it between these two? But hang on, God's sake. Sorry, Unity is so much easier for drawing. How far is it between these two buildings?
Between those two buildings, the map is slightly misleading. It's not.
I'm assuming
as
not
wide.
to scale.
Yeah, it's not as wide as that makes it look, but it is still maybe as much as 20 feet.
So that is a bit far, even for me.
Yeah.
However, what are the relative heights of the houses on the, if I were to head right, map right, and then south around that corner?
So you basically want to run essentially paralleling Burnt Wagon Way and then down
Yeah.
the Street of the Tusks on the
Yep.
rooftops. I'm going to say that middle house is slightly higher because it's a small house, so it makes sense that they would have built high to make up for the lack of footprint.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say that is a story taller than the one you're on or the one on the other side of it.
How difficult would it be for you just to climb down the side of the house you're on?
That will put me smack into a really complicated fight situation on top of everybody.
Yeah, fair enough.
Strikes me
But
as a
you,
bad idea.
But it would look great cinematically.
yeah.
Not really, because it's also 30 feet. It's going to take me a while.
Only if you forget the fact that you're holding a rope with a grapple on the end.
True, but I've got to hoik the grapple rope back in, attach it up here, and then shin down it.
Yeah, it would take you the whole round.
That's what I'm thinking.
Or use the grapple as a counterweight, loop the rope round a thing, and rappel down the wall.
I don't think there's anything up here. I mean, I'm assuming standard sort of fantasy construction.
chimney.
I'm a bit concerned. Oh yeah, I can see that going down the storm. Last thing, I don't know about you, last thing I want is somebody poking their nose out saying, "What are you kids doing on all that garden?"
Like out of the old 1960s Batman shows as they're climbing up.
Exactly. So the red square is the demon crates, yeah?
The bed square is the demon crates, yes.
Right, okay. And I can do 120 feet, hypothetically.
Yeah. But this map is not necessarily to scale.
This
We're
map is not necessarily to
This
scale.
isn't a battle map as such.
No, that's fine. How far?
It's a thematically appropriate distance map.
Yes, absolutely.
That.
How far is that? With a couple of dexterity checks so that you can actually move at speed, I would say that's roughly 1 round worth of movement.
Right. Okay, I will.
You can in fact move 240 feet in a round if that's all you're doing, if you're sprinting.
Yeah.
But
What
you're
I
obviously-
am aiming to
that's a
get
bad
to
thing to do on
is
a
that
rooftop.
point because there's bad guys there, and that will let me drop down behind bad guys.
I'm not going to let you get onto there in
No,
one round, I
but
will
that's
let
where
you
I
get
want to be eventually.
a chunk of the way.
Yeah, that's what I want to get for.
So, first off, I'm going to need when you get there, it's going to be a climb walls, of course, because this
Right.
next building is higher than you. But we haven't got there yet.
Okay.
I'm setting your initiative to 7 because it's typical unarmed for a medium
Okay.
timing. And finally, what is Nobbable going to do? The best initiative in the party,
Finally?
potentially.
Did I not get a question?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're.
is on 2.
I hadn't scrolled up far enough. I thought Nobbable was at the top of the list, but there was a Carps off the top. Scrolling up, Carps actually has the best initiative in the group. My mistake.
That's
So,
terrifying. I've got 2 bloody great axes in my.
Yeah, but
Well-
I haven't added those modifiers yet. So.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to be casting Spook on the one that he isn't attacking.
How many
So they're
spells
both
have you
attacking him,
memorized?
I want to scare off the one that's not going to take damage.
I don't think you have a second spook cast memorized, do you? Because you've cast it once. Let's actually take that off.
Oh,
You've got
I can only
Phantasmal
remember-
Force as
so
your other
using
spell.
it-
Yeah. This isn't
Actually-
5th edition, so therefore you have to. Each spell slot has to be assigned
Right.
in advance.
right. In that case,
I do actually
then
quite like the way 5th edition does it, that lets you memorize a bunch of spells
Oh, no,
and then use
that's-
any slot
that's
for
cool.
any of them. But
I am going to, because I don't know where that one when it disappeared around the corner or back. I didn't scare that one, and I know that there's a way up here to get to me and behind Carps. So right there along the line that Shrine is going to be jumping,
yeah.
I am going to put up a wall that looks like crate.
So just
the wall of crates.
throwing an illusory wall up there.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, that makes perfect sense. And casting time on Phantasmal Force is 1. So that will go off on 4. Right. Now, finally, Carps. Presumably you're going to be hitting things with boarding axes.
Yes. Now, they have attacked someone who is clearly holding 2 boarding axes.
Yeah.
They know what they're stepping into. Next
You
question.
don't feel at all bad about it, do you?
Not in the slightest. They picked the fight. If I have 2 axes and I simply make that action, oh shit, knocking down the frame to my right, a sort of, nice arcing action, I'm gonna hit both of them. What are the rolls, negatives on the rolls involved in that, rather than just looping around and smacking them both into one of them?
Causing me to make up rules on the spur of the moment. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to treat that as the normal. You get 2 attacks because you're using 2 axes. I'm just going to treat that as an attack against each of them as your 2 attacks.
Okay.
I don't think I'm going to let you do anything special just for the slash thing. In a different system, a different edition, I might have, but because a combat round in this is a minute, we're less dealing with specific moves and more with a minute's worth of back and forth with a couple of opportunities to actually strike. So that's going to put your initiative to 9, which brings us back round to Nobbable. Nobbobble's Phantasmal Force will go off.
So I hope that doesn't confuse Shrine when she gets
She
there.
tries to walk on it and splat.
I hadn't thought of that, but now you.
Maybe if it's not as high. I mean, Shrine wouldn't if it's not as high as the the full thing of the alley. Yeah.
But I'm not thinking Shrine is going to be going around, and I want it to be high enough that the person that might be coming up doesn't try to climb it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's going to be basically a wall of crates that look like they were just shoved in a corner, but are covering up that entire alley.
I'm just going to put a token there. Is that roughly where you want it? Basically covering the.
Yeah.
Or...
Yeah. That is. So I was trying to figure out.
Say that.
Yeah, I heard it.
What was it?
That was probably my. If it was a ping, 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 ping.
Yes.
Yeah.
You heard. Yeah, that would be my fire tablet. Suddenly randomly deciding to catch up on all of the Facebook messages that I've received over the course of the afternoon and delivering them all at once.
I was just looking at my alerts going, nope, nothing there. It's everything's silenced. What's going on here?
I've noticed it doing that, and I've left it within range of the microphone without thinking about it.
It could be worse. Your fire tablet could end up actually having a conversation with your Echo Dot. And then God help us all.
Was there anything that I needed to roll in order to cast or maintain it? I remember, I think...
This is a fairly simple use. I don't think I'm going to... And you can see, next to you, you can see pretty much a model for exactly what you're trying to duplicate. So you can just recreate those palettes in a different location. So I'm not going to need you to make any kind of artistic ability roll to try and, come up with a good illusion. This will work.
Fair enough.
So yeah, that's successfully cast. You have that illusion there. Bringing us to Shrine's Climb Walls, please.
Okay. There's actually reaching for the right dice. Just as a novelty. So now I've got Dare to Be Stupid stuck in my head, and I can't help thinking this is an omen. Okay, that is a 36, which makes it.
Right, so that gets you up onto that roof. A dexterity check as you get down onto the next roof, please.
Okay. That is bang on 16, which is my dex.
Okay. And yeah, I'll let you move one more building if you make a successful dex check. If you fail, you're not going to fall or anything, you just won't get any further.
Okay. You're updating my token, yeah?
Yes, I'm updating your token.
2.
Okay, so that will get you onto this building. As for why the NPCs think it's clever to engage with these people, it's because they had a plan, and if their plan had gone well, they had a much stronger position here. Their plan did not go well.
However,
it was
they
meant
don't
to
have
be
enough
an ambush, but the wrong people got ambushed.
Unfortunately, they don't have enough intelligence to revise the plan on the fly.
Not really, no. They're not the brightest bulbs in the box.
The best revision would have been run.
Yeah. The best revision would have been as they were lurking in the alley, waiting to attack, to see what was happening and say, "Well, she's buggered."
No.
We have a fairly competent team when it comes to combat and working together.
And that has now jinxed any rolls I make about combat.
Yeah, well
Because I'm
Yeah, pretty
a designated fighter.
Sure, you're designated fighter.
Okay,
One
let's
is not allowed to
move
drink.
Onja closer to the halfling since he is in guard duty. And then, right, so running away guy gets a saving throw.
Fail!
Actually, it's probably the safest for him if he does fail.
He has failed his save versus spell. He will continue to run the hell away.
What that
You know
does
the best
mean is
part about
that
the spell? It just stays until he saves. There's no...
It does have a duration, I'm pretty sure.
It didn't... I'll take a look at it again. I didn't see duration on there. It said duration special.
Yeah, I think that's because he gets a save every round. So within the body of the text, it will list what the duration is if he never makes a save. I think it's 10 rounds. But either way, that's going to be... If he doesn't make a saving throw, he's not coming back until long after this fight's over. Right, next is one of the idiots who thinks that he can attack carps foolishly.
I don't
Let's give
know.
him a go. And that's going to be a hit.
I was
Bang
afraid
on.
of that
Hit armor class 7.
Ouch.
bastard.
That's why you should leave the fighting to the competent people.
So,
Yeah, but we
ouch.
don't have any yet.
Double ouch. That is 6 points of damage to Carps.
Oh,
That's a big hit.
quite a hit dice.
Yeah.
Okay,
I think I
let's
still
move
have
on.
damage listed on my character from ages
Yeah.
ago, which I'm fairly certain should have healed by now.
That would have healed.
Technically, this is non-lethal damage, but I don't think Fantasy Grounds tracks non-lethal damage at the moment, so I'm just going to put it through as normal and know that it can't kill you.
Non-lethal, that would have dropped me to -1 anyway.
Yeah, well, non-lethal will never take you below 0, so
I think, yeah, so it would have just dropped you.
yeah.
See the
But
note.
yeah, that is a... As you're trying to, you're dodging back and forth and trying to line up a blow and swinging at these people, and you just pay too much attention to one of them, and the other one manages
Spots
to
an opening.
catch you on the side of the head with a club. Everything goes woozy for a little bit, but you're not down yet. And the guy against Lucian goes next. So let's...
Drowning in fights are very different situations. You can't fight water.
No, you can't fight water. It's very difficult to fight water anyway.
Can you tried?
That is a
There-
miss against Lucian.
But there is a difference between jumping into the water to save somebody and jumping into the water in full armor to save somebody.
Yes.
When
I
you
just
can't
needed,
swim.
the extra weight to make sure that I didn't float off.
Look,
Right.
if his armor was made out of foam,
Sorry, are you saying that Sans armor Lucian's a twink?
Let's
No.
just move on to Carps attacking with an axe, shall we? I think.
Yes, please.
Oh, I need some brain bleach.
Okay, so do you have a preference for which one you're going to go for first?
Yeah, we'll have the one that hit me first.
Okay. So I think that was the...
get rid of the competent ones first. Always a plan.
The higher
Yeah,
the
the-
better, correct?
The way this is going to work... Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, feel free to roll it yourself. I just automatically rolled it for you, but you can ignore that and roll it for yourself. Or you can
I got
take
a
that one because it is a
15.
hit. Which is also a hit.
That's a relief.
So, roll damage.
5 plus 4 is 9.
Okay. So, reeling slightly from the blow to the side of your head, you instinctively lash out towards the source of pain. Only realizing when you hear the gurgling noise that your instinctive lash out has in fact caught him in the gut and ripped up into his chest. As he falls off your axe, he drops to the ground, as dead as a dead thing that's really quite dead. And what I'll do is I will then move you to the end of the round for your second attack. I've never liked the two attacks coming at the same time. I prefer to stagger it, so you get an attack on your initiative, and then after everyone's acted, you'll get the second attack in.
It's more cinematic that way.
Yep.
Right, not to anybody's great surprise, I feel the one that ran round the end of the building appears on the far side and grinds to a halt as they see a collection of crates and pallets blocking the path. You hear a rude word coming from down that alleyway. But the one over here will attempt to get revenge for the death of their friend and have another go at Carps.
The rude word is knobwobble.
That is not a curse word. What are you talking about?
And that is going to be a miss.
That's a relief.
Lucian. Dear boy.
Stab.
Stab.
Stab, stab, stab. I'm telling you, you need to slash.
Hang on, let me just check which one that is. It's that one. So, oh, look at that. That's a hit. That's a definite hit. Where did the +1 come from? Oh, +1 came from Bless, of course, yeah. So yeah, including the Bless, you've hit armor class 0.
I don't think they have our AC 0.
They don't have AC 0, no.
See, I can do it when I try.
So yeah, you have hit this guy for 7 points of damage, which is rather more damage than he can take. So, recovering yourself, you fence a little bit, you deflect away his attacks a couple of times, just getting your confidence back after the miss last time. And then when he leaves himself wide open after an unbalanced swing, you just casually slide your sword forward through his chest.
Yes, the dramatic way of doing it.
Hey, are you guys
Like
keeping
that.
track of who's going?
Right.
So Lucian's got one, and Knight's got one now, or Carps has got one now. So that's 1-1. Who's going to get the next one? Oh, right, Carps is about to kill the other one.
That's not
Gets a second
guaranteed.
attack, yeah. Robin gets another shot.
Yes, he gets to shoot again.
Okay, so yeah, Knight, your second.
Am I affected by the
other
bless?
You
Yes,
are
you
affected
are.
by the bless.
Yeah.
Yes, you get a +1 to hit.
So 16.
Is going to hit. You want to roll damage?
Oh
I know
shit!
you do.
12. That's 8 on a D8.
Okay, so yeah. Ducking under a clumsily swung club as this person panics over what's just happened to their friend. They're paying far too much attention to the body and not enough attention to your axe as you just backswing it across their throat, and another one falls. Right.
Can I do a flourish to swish the blood off the blades?
Of course you can. Of course you can. Right, I'll
have
re-roll
to
all the
pull a
initiatives,
corpse off
but there's quite a lot of dead people here.
What is the Waterdavian policy for the disposal of corpses?
Well, that depends. Really, in this situation, you should probably call the watch and answer some questions and explain what happened. The other policy,
when we're
however, is
finished
just
fighting, we
find
should call the
nearest
watch, but we
sword.
also need to get the halfway away before we call the watch. Because we want to question her.
The halfling is the witness that could potentially admit the fact that actually it was an ambush and they were trying to get us.
True. Okay, so new round initiative. What is Onsha going to be doing this round?
No,
The
Where
halfling,
is
by
the
the way,
halfling?
last round basically spent her time. She didn't actually try anything, but she has recovered her footing. She's not actually stood up. She's got her feet back underneath her again, and she looks like she's looking for an opportunity to leg it, but hasn't tried it yet because there was somebody with a big stick standing over her.
yes, I actually just moved to basically stand over her. I would caution against doing anything foolish, like running. Andrew is trying to be intimidating, even though this is not really his forte. He's actually saying it very pleasantly.
Yeah, I know you don't have the intimidate skill.
Yeah,
but
I know.
Make a roll against half of your charisma.
Sure.
Honestly, Anzer pleasantly saying, you probably shouldn't move in a nice way in this situation should
no.
be extremely...
It's a fail by 1.
Oh no! Oh,
Surely
actually,
there's
is
going to
it-
be a bonus for the fact that
is
there's
it
3 of her
a fail by
compadres
1?
lying dead on the
Your
floor.
charisma is a 14, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, so half of that is 7. You've got a -1 to proficiency checks for bless. Means that you made that exactly.
Oh, right. Sorry.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Thanks to the bless, you have successfully intimidated.
Oh,
I have got a critical success on the
Yes, a
instrument.
critical success indeed.
excellent.
I think the dead corpses were definitely.
She glares at you and moves her hands away from her body. Only when she does so do you see the dagger that was right next to where her hand was a moment earlier. But she now has her hand nowhere near it.
Yeah. Okay. Basically, I'm going to be guarding her until somebody can actually,
Right.
tie her up or something like that. But
What's Lucian going to do this round? You have no opponents anymore.
I
In
feel
fact,
purposeless.
all three of the visible opponents are dead.
There's another one behind these crates over here.
Yeah, I know that they have come from down
Yeah, you know they
wherever
came from
that
down
leads
that
to, because
alley,
I can't
so-
see what is down there. But they've come from down somewhere. Can I head down there to see if there are any more that were like?
Lucian,
As a
I've
sort
already
of
bagged
rear
2. This
guard.
one's yours.
No, you're full. You've had to.
Yeah, otherwise he'll never hear it. Like for the rest of the week, it'll be
Oh.
Lucian complaining about how Carps is fucking kill ahead of him.
I've killed 2. I couldn't manage another.
Mom, you said that I could have the
Um,
last one.
Right, Shrine.
Yo,
The situation has changed somewhat since you started round here, but you can see that currently the only standing foe that you can still see is in this alley that you're looking down into, essentially. So,
yeah. And nobody is attacking them, are they?
at the moment,
Not yet.
no.
Remind me what K is.
K is
K
where
is
the
an
wall
illusionary wall of crates. So it looks like a wall of crates to you.
goes. Yes.
Well, I wasn't going that way anyway.
But you also know that that wall of crates wasn't there when you first looked in this direction, so you've got some clue.
Actually, yes. Right. Is there? God, I wish I could ping. Is there a gap? You know where the sole remaining person is down that alley?
Yeah.
The building at the bottom, at right angle.
Uh-huh.
I can see there is an alleyway above it on the left. Right, I wish I could ping. Sorry, hang on a minute.
So
Okay, there is an alleyway.
let me just do a quick arrow.
There.
Why
Yeah.
did that jump all the way over there? I do not know. That went weird.
Basically, is there a gap?
I don't know why that arrow is quite that long, but that,
Yeah.
other than the fact that it somehow managed to not go to the place that I wanted to click on, that new red arrow shows the route that was taken. So this person has come down and dashed through in between those two buildings where I've just drawn that arrow.
Is there a gap there?
There is a
Where
gap
the
there,
arrow,
yes.
where the black
It's-
arrow is.
It's not a very big gap, but there is one. It's kind of a squeeze through gap.
Right. So it would be helpful to stop them in some way, shape, or form.
Quite possibly, yes.
Right.
And yeah, I have to say I may have to just actually create a new version of the Slaughterdeep graphic for Slaughterdeep because it needs to be a thing.
Yeah.
If nothing else, we may want to flash it up every time somebody rolls a nat 1 on a to hit roll.
Yes. Okay. In that case, let's not do that. Let's do that instead. And in that case, I'm not going across past the K because that seems silly. I am simply heading down this way.
That's
How
just
high
gone
is that
very
building
strange.
that route ends
Excuse
in?
me while I fix VC.
Oh, hello. VC's just done its thing.
Chrono's now in a different ratio.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
No.
Chrono's gone into 4 to 3 because what?
Yeah.
What?
Unexpectedly gone to 4 to 3. So let me just fix that in OBS as well.
Which is ideally what you should be in anyway, but I
Yeah.
don't know why it's suddenly done it when it
Yeah.
wasn't all the way through the session.
Bad magic.
Yeah,
It
that's
just
really,
did,
really
however,
weird.
mess up everything on my screen and confuse the hell out of me for a moment. But there we go. That's dealt with now. Nobody's where they were on my screen anymore. I need to move you all back to the right place.
This is why it's
That's better.
ideal to do it in separate windows instead of as cutouts on one window, because at least then you have a fighting chance of people
Yes.
staying put when
Yeah.
things go pear-shaped.
True.
Instead of, as
true.
I saw the other day, somebody was obviously doing it with cutouts on a window on
Because when
OBS,
someone-
and someone dropped out and literally
Everything
everyone just went
Yeah,
changed.
well, this is why we found. This is why we went looking and found VC.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
we initially did it using Skype, and if somebody dropped, Skype rearranges the entire screen. So we just lost everything, and it went
Yeah.
utterly chaotic. So I went looking for a better alternative. Plus, also Skype was just being really bandwidth hungry at the
It
time.
was, yeah.
I mean, that was years ago, but. So right, I got distracted there by sudden large chrono magistrates. So,
Dominant
can
face.
we go back
Right.
to what you were doing again?
How high is the building that where the arrow pointing directly south ends?
I love the way you ask me these questions as if you think I know the answer.
Well, I'm waiting for you to
You know
decide.
full well I'm making this up as I go along.
I know you're making it up as much as I make stuff.
I'm going to say that it's the same height as the building you're on, which is going to be roughly 3 stories.
2 stories.
Three.
So 20, and that will be a tumble check to avoid.
I actually said 3 stories.
damage.
but-
Did you say 3
yeah,
stories?
I
I'm
said 3
sorry.
stories.
Sorry. It looks lower.
How can you
Right.
tell it's pixelated?
Because the other one is stepped higher.
How can you tell it's pixelated?
Because I've zoomed out and it isn't
Yeah,
as
I know I'm zoomed
pixelated.
in further than you so that I can see the locations of the people better. But that's a good
Yes.
point. I've just realised that at no point, and nobody actually thought to say, excuse me, fish, or if they did, I didn't see it and I apologise. But I'm going to muck up your view now. Sorry, because I've got to sync the client view in order to get the
Whoa!
in
Oh,
order to
jeez.
get the stream to see. I'll zoom out a little bit further so that the pixelation is less bad, and then redo it. But I realised I had not actually moved the stream to be able to see the fight. So this entire fight has been taking place invisibly as far as the stream is concerned. I do apologise.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Tell
I'll try
us
and get
these
battle
things.
mats for future fights, but hopefully those fights won't take place on the streets of Waterdeep. It's much easier to get a battle mat when you're not on the streets of Waterdeep.
Okay,
Most things are a lot easier when you're not on the streets of Waterdeep.
This is true,
Oh,
yeah.
I'm finding this fight blissfully easy because I'm not on the streets of Waterdeep.
Yeah.
I had a couple of hairy moments getting to it.
This is true.
Right, okay. I am going, in that case, in my move, I will head to that end of that arrow, and then I'm going to do what I did to the halfling.
Try that trick again.
Yep.
Okay. Right. Make me a dexterity check. If you make the dexterity check, you can get your attack as well. Otherwise,
Okay.
your movement will have been, your round will have been taken up with movement.
Okay,
because
no problem.
you've still got to try and
Made it by 4.
balance as you go. Right. In that case, make that roll. Remembering you are at -2 to hit for your
I
non-weapon
am.
proficiency penalty.
Okay.
Non-proficiency penalty even.
Roll high. Oh, we'll take that actually. That is a 19.
Okay, yeah, that is a hit. That's going to be a D4 damage again.
Yep. Aim and trick. Oh dear, he's not as lucky as the halfling. I'm doing 4 points.
4 points. Okay.
I've just got
And
visions of it like
that's-
being through the Achilles tendon. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I know.
And I'm going to go with a paralyzation save to avoid falling over. Seems reasonable.
Yes.
Which he makes.
Ah.
So yeah, you swing down with the grapple hook,
Mhm.
flick it round the legs, and he stumbles and cries out in pain as the iron barb of the hook tears a chunk out of his calf, but doesn't fall. He is now well aware that you're up there.
It's fine by me. Fighter.
Fine by me, says the person who can get extra damage on a sneak attack.
I'm just wondering if this counted as a sneak attack.
No. This was a surprise attack, it was not a sneak attack. Sneak attack specifically, its description explains how it is all about careful placing to a vulnerable spot, which does not imply swinging a hook on the end of a 30-foot length of rope.
No, it's a lot more calm and collected
Not a
than it was
precision
in
strike
Third
per se.
Have you ever seen a kusanagi?
If you can make a precision strike with a kusanagi from 30 feet away, then I will. When you've demonstrated that to me, I'll let you have this next time.
Well, me personally, always. Because you're out of luck there, mate. Googling how long is a kusanagi now?
Right, so moving on to Lucian, because we've already rolled Onja's intimidation.
Carps and Nabobble didn't get to choose their actions for this round.
Oh yeah, we're still going back down. Yeah, sorry. That was
declarations.
For actually doing her thing. My fault for letting her do her thing, but it was still her fault.
I was
for doing her thing when we were still on declarations. Yeah. So in fact, yeah, Shrine should have been acting on 12. Let me just do that. We've already rolled it, but she's actually acting on 12.
Fine.
So yeah, carrying on back down the line then, what's Carps going to do? Sorry, I got...
Stroll over and make sure that our halfling friend is properly secured and apprehended.
Okay,
nice.
Fair enough.
So holstering the axes to do so.
Yeah.
Having just sliced and diced her two friends, I mean her no harm. Until such time as she decides to try and stab me with a teeny tiny dagger.
Peace, he says, wiping the blood off his axe.
They came in pieces, I come in pieces.
Wobble.
I am going to pull out my mini crossbow, and once I have it pulled out, drop the illusion and shoot the guy.
Okay. So, crossbow has a weapon speed of 7, so that's happening on 10. Right, so fastest initiative has actually now come down to the, after the modifiers, has now actually come down to the guy who is running screaming. So let's see if he's still running screaming.
Yes!
Another spell save. And he is still running screaming.
I did read the definition, at least that's on here, and it doesn't say a time. It says until they save.
Yeah, well,
because they are followed by a specter of their own mind.
Either way, I'm now going to remove that token from the board because he's now run far enough. Even if he recovers, he's not coming back to this fight at this point. That guy is well and truly gone.
I am glad that I took that spell.
Oh, down.
So, why have you jumped all the way down there? I don't know. That's a very strange piece of behaviour. You should be next. Although I haven't actually adjusted your initiative for your weapon, have you? So, in fact, you should be going on 10. Same as almost everybody else. No bobble. Right, you ready your crossbow. You drop the illusion, and there in front of you, staring up at the roof above them, is a very irate looking and slightly bloody thug.
Alright, how do I roll? That's what I do.
Okay.
Nope.
So, you rolled a Slaughterdeep, apparently. We had to have one eventually. There we go.
There we go.
So I'm not using any critical failure rules at the moment in this game. Nat 1 is just an auto miss, no matter how easy the shot is. I may introduce some critical rules later on, but I don't want to complicate matters too much at this stage.
It's fitting. Knob Wobble doesn't really shoot very often. So now they have to reconsider how the crossbow is made and probably make some adjustments.
Right, we know what Cobbs is doing. So this is going to be an attack against Shrine, which yeah, that's saying it's a hit, but I forgot to apply the range penalty. With the range penalty, that is actually going to miss you. Yay. So what's happened is that they have pulled a dagger and hurled it in your direction. If you were closer, that would have hit, but with the range penalty,
I'm planning on doing next, to be honest.
Miss. And we've already made your roll. Technically, they shouldn't have done that because you hadn't actually made your roll and they thought they were. But I'm going to assume that you made enough noise getting down here that they knew you were there. So yeah, then we go ow from you, and there's nobody here to fight, Lucian. You've run round the corner with your sword in hand, and there's nobody there. But you can hear the sound of combat from around the other side of the building. So if you want, I will just let you take your round running around to where the fight is still happening. On the off chance that anybody actually leaves this guy alive long enough for you to kill them.
Lucian, like, sprinting around a corner, frantically waving his head around looking for a target, hearing a noise, and then going, ah!
Okay, I'm not going to go to a full initiative at this point. I'm just going to ask the 3 people that are actually involved in this sub-fight, without rolling initiative, what they want to do. So
I want to reload and try and shoot again.
Yeah, I know Lucian wants to run this guy through. Not Bobble is going to fire again now. Or are you going to just leave it to Lucian?
I'm going to try again and hopefully not shoot Lucian.
I will say I will not be using rules as written for firing into melee, should you fire into melee. Because as written in this edition, there is no way to avoid hitting your friends. Any attack into melee, any ranged attack into melee as written in the 2nd edition Player's Handbook, involves a random roll for which combatant
target
gets
you
hit. Yeah. It is modified based on sizes, so large creatures are more likely to get hit than small creatures, but it is just a random roll. We've never.
But the guy is between me and Lucian.
So it'll be a called shot essentially if you're firing into melee in my game, which is going to be -4 to hit. Or if you don't want to take the -4, then you can just take a random roll to see who you hit. So yes, you're going to be shooting. And what's Shrine going to do? You can see Lucian charging towards your opponent. You can see Knobwobble loading up a crossbow again with some strange levers and things to make it work. I'm not sure quite how.
I'm going to stay up here rather than get involved and in everyone's way. But what I am going to do is I am going to throw one of my many daggers at the guy down there, less with expectation of hitting, more with a focus on me and not on Lucian.
Okay.
I can't see that Lucian's there.
Which I know doesn't have much in-game results, but you know what I mean. I think it's more logical.
Yeah. Okay. So, let's just roll initiatives for the people concerned then.
because I'm up to 10 daggers, frankly.
Initiative for
You should sell some of those.
I think I'm up to
initiative
10.
with Shrine with a dagger.
Check my notes.
Initiative for Nobobble with a light crossbow. And initiative for Lucian with a longsword.
Oh no, 4 daggers.
So, that's slightly freaky.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow Lucian's going first.
He's very upset that he only got 1 kill.
Momentum is very important when it comes to charging.
He has a slowish weapon. Not really compared to the crossbow necessarily, but compared to the dagger he has a slow weapon. But he's obviously, he's got that momentum. So,
Yay.
do you want to roll to hit? Do you want me to roll it, or are you going to roll it?
If I was to do it myself, how would I actually do it?
Right, well, if you open up your character sheet and look at the Actions tab, you will find your longsword on there. And
the attack one?
Under the ATK column, just either drag to the chat or double click on the value given in there, and that should make a roll.
Yeah.
Which, with a roll of 5, hits absolutely nothing.
That's unfortunate.
That's got
6,
+1 though.
5 plus 1, yeah, okay, so you've got a roll of 6. That still hits nothing.
It's possible they had AC.
Armor class 14, and the worst armor class the game has is 10. So,
But the +1's important.
but the plus 1 is vitally important, of course, yes. Right. So, Shrine.
Well, now there is a point to me throwing this.
Now there is a point to you throwing this, yes.
And I was checking, and yes, I do have 10 daggers, plus whatever I picked up.
You are throwing into melee, so
Yeah.
you have a choice between taking a -4 to hit,
Uh-huh.
or just rolling random for which character you hit if you do.
I will take the -4.
Okay, in that case you are definitely attacking the right one.
Yep. And I will use my nice die. Why not? And actually, if I roll this, I'd do a fair amount of damage on its own. Because it's my metal. Okay, so my THACO is 19, so it's now 24. So I'm still looking at roll as well as I can.
You are rather, yeah.
23, I can't add up. I did too many.
Yeah, however, you are at long range as well.
Fish,
Which is in fact
I have to
further
confirm
-5. We don't have critical rules, it's just that a 20 is an auto hit.
oh, right, okay.
Which is pretty cool, because you were at a total of -10 and -9 to hit on this. So you kind of needed the 20, to be honest.
I was assuming it was confirmed to hit, but of course that's third ed.
Yeah.
Different wrong edition, yeah. There are critical rules in Player's Option Combat and Tactics.
Fair
But
enough.
while I own that book, I'm not running using that book, partly because it's not in Fantasy Grounds, and partly because although I own that book now, when we used to play AD&D 2nd
We
Edition,
didn't.
back in the day I didn't.
No.
It's something I've added to my collection since. So I've never played with the rules in that book, and there's some
I know
interesting
I've
stuff in
skimmed.
there, but
I know I've skim read it at least once, but that is again 20 odd years ago.
a lot of the rules from that book made it into 3rd edition. It's things like the 6-second combat round that 3rd edition has is introduced in Combat and Tactics,
Yeah.
stuff like that. There is a lot of alternative versions of specialisation in there. Different levels that allow specialisation effectively for non-fighters, but not as good, things like that. So I may bring those rules in and make them available after I've read through them, and I'm sure how they change things. I was about to say how they unbalance things, but that's just purely a result of the elven archer in the AD&D game that I'm playing,
3 points.
who is ridiculously powerful.
I never played fighters in 2nd ed, so
3 points. I played rangers and clerics. I don't know why.
Sorry, how many points did you say?
Just 3.
wizards and clerics for me.
Dagger's only just 4.
Just 3 of the 2 hit points he had remaining after you hit him with a
Oh.
grapple.
Okay.
So, as Lucian boldly and heroically keeps him occupied,
Yeah.
a dagger
That was
shoots
intense.
down from above.
Straight through the top of the head.
And
Next one.
yeah, and he drops.
Although at this range, I could well have hit him with the hilt and still done enough damage.
Well done, Trine. Put my crossbow away.
Lucian won. Lucian's a big boy.
Sneakily recover the dagger afterwards, just so.
And the fight is over. You have got... Technically, you have got at least one person here who could be saved if you bother.
Right. What
Clearly,
happened to
none of
Halfling?
the 2 that Carps were
But
fighting.
it's whether you bother. Certainly the one who went straight to -8 is well dead. Yeah, I mean the one that's just gone down was only on -1, so this person will bleed to death if left alone, but if you wanted to keep an additional captive, you can certainly save this one. And the halfling is largely unwounded, just taking a couple of points to the leg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm from my vantage point, I'm going to nip back to line of sight. Are any of them fixable?
I wander over and have a look.
Not my 2.
Yeah, no. At this point, they've had time probably to... Certainly Carps's 2 have both had time
Yeah.
to bleed out.
And the
You
third
might,
one.
yeah, you might be able to save the one that Lucian ran through. And
Let me see, because I don't have non-weapon proficiency medicine. What would be like a stabilization or non-weapon proficiency medicine without magic?
I would allow you to stabilize without needing a roll, because it's literally
Okay.
just patching them up. They're not
Okay,
getting anything
then-
back from it.
yeah.
They're just not bleeding any further. So yeah, you've got one badly
Right,
wounded, and one. Well, you've got one very badly wounded, one badly wounded, and one slightly wounded, conscious, and still alive.
I'll take the. I'll patch up the slightly wounded one so that we can take him prisoner as well.
Okay, so yeah, you've now got 3 new prisoners. One of whom you know for a fact is a member of the gang that you originally came here looking for.
Yes.
Yeah, we still need to save that damsel in distress.
You
Yes.
do indeed still need to give the
We
damsel in
do.
distress, and this is the first real clue that you've had in that direction. You've had some information that would lead you to who's been supplying them, things like that. But this is the first time you've actually got your hands on somebody who turned out to be a member of that crew.
So
The
I
previous
foresee-
captive wasn't. He was a black dog.
We also have to check their pockets for gold and items of use. I mean, they might have some that thing that we need to go and find for the sage. We can have it on him.
You never know. He might conveniently just happen to have that. Yeah.
I'm thinking in terms of sharp objects, that sort of thing.
Yeah,
And you're
yeah.
thinking
We don't want them to hurt themselves while they're tied up.
Yeah.
I will
no
leave
problem.
this totally unheroic practice to these others while I polish my sword.
I am going to call the session to a halt there. I think that's not an unreasonable place to stop it. I will add your findings to the party inventory in Fantasy Grounds before we next play.
Okay.
You won't find, mysteriously, any Mistress Wort on any of them, funnily enough. Nor is one of them carrying some holy water blessed by an Azuthian cleric.
I mean, it was worth
But
a
you
try.
will find a few coins and some daggers and some clubs.
Fish, what level do you have to be to cast bless water or create holy water?
I mean, I can do that with bless, but it will be
I-
Denerath the.
I would need to look up how holy water was created in this edition, because each
It's the
edition does
first
it in a slightly different way. There's not a specific spell that just creates holy water,
Oh, okay.
but I think it's the Complete Priest's Handbook does actually have a how do you make holy water.
I'll get my Azuthian cleric finished.
I was going to actually ask you off stream. Did
Yeah.
you want to use this as an opportunity to introduce your?
This
second
strikes me as a
character?
good opportunity. Yes.
Okay.
I feel like there was a lot of experience that was gained this time around for everyone.
Well, we
Depends
we
on
also
the
have. I
definition
mean,
of a lot of experience. Unfortunately, these guys weren't particularly tough.
yeah.
But there was experience gained.
But the awards are
And there are
Player
certainly
has-
some individual
Yeah.
awards to come out. Yeah, the individual awards are going to be worth more than the guys are,
Yes.
to be honest.
yeah, that's what I meant is the individual
Yeah.
awards.
Well, I only get one, unfortunately, but that's for one casting of Bless. But
Oh, I don't know. Sure, there's going to be something else.
For
priests
pressing
don't,
less, though,
priests
that's-
don't get a lot on the individual reward things. Mine are for casting a spell. It's 50. If it's casting
Yeah.
a spell in support of my tenets, then that's doubled.
Ah.
But very little of what we're doing is in direct support of Dania.
Yeah.
And it's 100 for it's 100 for a specialist for use of my specialist skills.
Ah.
And we haven't had to talk to anyone in a foreign language or investigate any symbols.
I'm not
Not
convinced that
this
Arnold
session,
Totteridge did not count as a foreign language.
Oh yeah, was I actually
His
flipping
name
into
was
Spain?
Gerald Strelfin, not Arnold Totteridge. Please stop
Sorry.
calling him Arnold
Do,
Totteridge.
What?
if there are any
Just
gold
because he
coins
said he
on these guys, I will be handing them directly to Shrine so that she gains experience for that, and she can be our bank.
I doubt these people are carrying gold.
I didn't think they were.
These people
I'm just
will
saying.
not be carrying gold.
I could cope with people using the party thief as a bank again.
It's good for your health.
It's amazing how often they don't notice you're taxing them.
Yeah.
Don't notice or don't
No.
care.
Sean,
Yeah,
if anyone gets the XP for the gold, I think the thief gets more for gold than anyone else.
I
But
don't get one per gold piece.
you get 2 per gold piece.
Oh,
I
you
think
do
we
gold.
get, yeah, and we get 1.
That's cool. I am at sneeze on the cockroach to go up a level. I think.
Yeah, you must be getting close.
Honestly,
Fairly close.
I don't need money so long as people buy me or bring me the things that I need when I'm building stuff.
That's the thing. I'm a priest. I don't technically care much about money,
Yeah.
except in defense of my actual goals.
Yeah, you just need money,
Well-
which I can relate to be honest.
Since we have a long-term goal of setting up a serial book press company, I mean, pulling all of our money to build this operation.
I would. Andre is very interested in that in defense of his long-term goals.
That is falling right in with your plans.
Yes.
Actually, this is short to medium term. We can just do that, and then the back page could be sermon to Dania.
Yeah,
Exciting story at the front.
Yes.
That's an interesting one.
Moralism at the back.
I don't know if that was delayed or if that has just come through. If it has just come through, then thank you for the host, Bandit. We are now wrapping up, but nevertheless, it's still appreciated. The
Yep.
thought is always good. So, anything that anybody wants to cover before we?
I
Wrap
think
up.
for the benefit of not being criminals, we probably should call the watch. And
Mhm.
for the sake of our guest,
Mhm.
suggest that this was clearly a press gang attempt that overestimated their abilities. They came
So
at us
you're
with
gonna
clubs. It's
lie
only
to the
after the
watch
fact
now,
that we
is
could
your-
determine that they were determined to subdue
can-
rather than.
We can refer them to the Magister who hired,
Yes.
who engaged us
Yes,
to investigate.
Magister.
That's a point we can.
Yeah.
Where
Also,
are
I
my
don't
notes?
know, in terms of having the halfling speak on our behalf to the watch, might not be a good idea since she was the bait.
Oh no, we're not.
But
letting
anything
her
that
talk,
clears her
but-
name with the watch means that she can still talk to us,
Hmm.
and not be at risk of finding watch that actually aren't crooked as anything.
Yeah, I mean, you're possibly far enough away that the watch here will be reliable.
I mean, we're in a different ward.
Because you are in you're in a different area entirely. So unless their influence has spread further, you should be okay here.
Well, at least there's 2 live ones to be handed over to the watch.
Yeah.
Relatively live ones.
They're not dead.
You know what?
Us.
Wait, if the one that I killed is now alive, does that mean I not get the killed bonus?
You will still get the bonus.
You defeated them.
You defeated, yes. It's
Counts
defeating.
defeated.
You don't have to kill.
You know, I just realized that I probably saved. I probably saved the life of the one, unless they run off of a bridge somewhere along the line.
At least, I mean, to be fair, at least Third Ed did clarify that that you do it, that getting XP is not solely down to killing,
Well,
but it is
very
defeating.
It's in the Dungeon Master's Guide in 2nd edition. It is in the section on experience there. Because
I think I think that was
Zeb Cook tried
overlooked
to
by a
make
lot
it
of people.
very clear, but a lot of people I don't think read it. No,
Yes.
particularly people who'd played 1st edition. A lot of what they did is they looked through the 2nd edition rulebooks and looked for the rules that had changed and didn't read anything else. So there's a lot of very good material on how to be a GM and how to play in those books that a lot of 1st edition players never read.
Right.
Okay.
Fishy.
So, that's it for today then. Coming up next week, we have Crimson Skies.
Yes. Crimson Skies with a safe to be cracked open and some races to be raced.
Yay!
Ooh, I'm looking forward to that.
Translation.
And some of
I
our
just
players-
gets to do something.
Some of our players are also streamers. So let's run around the table. Let's run around in the reverse order of the way I did it last time. Drat, what have you got coming up this week?
Coming up this week, I am back on sticks tomorrow, barring absolute accidents. And then on Thursday,
So
I
more
am
climbing
going
and
to be back.
altruism.
Yes. And then on Thursday, I am going to be on probably Cyberpunk 2077.
Cool.
Failing that, I have plans. But yeah, probably
Ooh.
Cyberpunk 2077.
Robinson, are you streaming any? Are you still on a Dyson project, or are you back on mobile games?
No, I'm going to stick with Dyson Sphere for a while. But if it turns out, because I've reached a slow point in one of my mobile games where it takes me hours to finish each session now, I might end up having to stream that because it just takes up so much of my day. I've reached.
But you might as well.
I've reached a weird point where I'm leveling up at the same rate I'm spending the stamina you get to do stuff from leveling up. So my sessions just drag themselves out because I spend all my stamina, level up, get all my stamina back, and then have to spend it all and level up.
Ah, the grind is real.
Indeed, it is. Grano, you got anything?
Well, there is a bunch of stuff happening on the Rusty Quill channel this week. I believe there are 4 streams taking place this week: Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, with various things going on. But stay tuned.
Check the calendar.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned to the Rusty Quill Twitter for that. Having done my first stream on my channel yesterday, people can go and check out the VOD from that very, very amusingly chaotic stream. And fingers crossed, if I have got the time, I may put in an impromptu stream next Sunday.
Yay!
Saturday or Sunday, but I will try and get a stream in next week as well. But we will see. Stay tuned to my Twitter. That's at GoodyGumDrop for more info on that.
Night. So I've got to look at a totally different screen to figure out what order.
Oh yeah.
On Tuesday, I will be sat back in the drum cave playing drums to requests. Same again on Thursday. Friday and Saturday, I have no plans yet because other things may be in motion off stream. So, but Tuesday and Thursday definitely in the drum cave.
So Shard Angel must be the person that's left. Shut up, you're streaming this week.
By process of elimination.
Yeah.
Process of elimination. I'll actually be streaming Hollow Knight in about half an hour or an hour after we log off here. And I think I might do the same on Tuesday and or Wednesday as well.
Cool.
Brilliant. Right, so yeah, all of those people are well worth watching. So if you're not already following them, follow them. If you haven't seen them before, then do yourself a favour and watch. If you like what we do, you can get involved by following us if you're not already, and indeed by donating. ! Donate will bring you up a link for that. We also have a Discord where streamers and gamers can chat, plan, support each other. That's the best way to get involved in one of our campaigns or one-shots. They tend to be organised on the Discord, so if you're on the Discord, then you can be there when those are being planned, and you raise your virtual hand to get in.
Yeah, get to know people in advance.
Thank you, Lupa, for all of those shout-outs and the Discord link there.
Yep.
Thank everybody for watching, and we will see you next week for more probably utterly chaotic gaming. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Yeah,
Thanks for
goodbye.
watching.
Okay.